The number of schoolyard attacks has surged to a 3-year high. Education Minister Blair Boyer says the guards are a last resort.
Obviously, as the Minister, I'd like to see no security guards in schools because that's not an ideal situation.
A new life for Tom's Court. Last year it was Adelaide's dedicated COVID hotel, but is no longer needed for that. The Malinauskas government is now considering it for emergency winter housing. Close to half of the Qantas ground staff sacked last year still don't have permanent jobs. Around 2,000 baggage handling positions were outsourced by the airline in 2021, which the federal court ruled was illegal. Qantas is seeking leave to appeal that decision in the High Court. But the Transport Workers Union's Nick McIntosh says the case should be dropped and the positions reinstated.
This is ridiculous. It shows this management stream has no care for any of its ex-workers. And really they should abandon this and sit down with their workforce and bring back these people who so desperately want to work there.
The European Union Foreign Policy Chief believes Russia is using food as a weapon. EU foreign ministers have been meeting to discuss how to tackle a blockade of food in Ukrainian ports. Joseph Borrell has stressed to the meeting that Western sanctions have not caused the global food crisis.
Russia's blockading Ukrainian exports. Russia, not us. Russia is destroying ports and destroying food stocks, destroying transport infrastructure.
Prince William turns 40 today. The father of 3 is the most popular royal behind the Queen, a recent poll giving him a 66% approval rating. The Duke of Cambridge is second in line to the throne after his father. And it's the shortest day of the year. The winter solstice means the sun is furthest away from us in the southern hemisphere. Now to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. Adelaide coach Matthew Nicks insists the club's rebuild is on track, despite another disappointing loss on the weekend, which sees the club languishing in 15th spot on the ladder. Nick's telling Rowie there are a lot of positives that give him confidence they're trending in the right direction.
From a rebuild point of view, we feel like we're getting that process right. We're doing a lot of stuff right. And when you're not winning games of footy, we all focus on the negative. You know, what's not working, who's not playing well. You know, we target individuals. We forget about a lot of the positive that is coming through.
The Crows take on North Melbourne in Tasmania on Sunday. Meantime, Port Adelaide forward Zach Butters is hopeful he may miss only 1 or 2 weeks as a result of his latest knee injury. And speculation continues to mount over the future of Jordan De Goey, with some reports suggesting the Collingwood star could be off to St Kilda, who are interested in the 26-year-old. To tennis, and it's been a good morning for the Aussies at the Eastbourne International, with defending champion Alex de Minaur recording a straight sets win. He wasn't the only one, though, who got a victory. John Millman getting through against Sebastian Korda in 3 sets, while on the women's side, Ayla Tomljanovic also had a 3-set win. And the Golden State Warriors are holding a street parade in San Francisco after their NBA Finals win over the Boston Celtics. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now.
Showers increasing today with a top of 16, then a shower or 2 tomorrow, 17. Thursday sunny and 18, but Friday back to 16 with showers. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. Big morning ahead. We've got a hero of the week for you before 7 o'clock today. If you'd like to be part of the segment, of course, we love hearing from you. Nominate a hero, 8223 or text us on the Automasters text line, 044808 1395. Phil Curry in the nation's capital after 7:30. We'll get to this debate about facial recognition technology in cameras in the City Council after 7:30. Give you a sense of how it works and why it is a particularly intriguing feature for our police authorities. We're going to chat with Louisa Mignoni, an Adelaide actress starring in The 12 on Foxtel. This looks like a terrific new program and great local production as well. So we're chatting with Louisa after 8:30 today. And, of course, in and around that, taking your calls on the news of the day, 8223 0000. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but my view on facial technology is if I'm in the city and I'm walking down the mall or I'm out on the Raz with some chaps in Goodges Street, maybe having a post-Wahing Thursday night beer with a couple of mates at the Metro, if there's facial recognition cameras in town, I've got no issue with that.
I struggle
because I think they're there to track down baddies. So people have done the wrong thing. What I don't want, though, is to walk in a Bunnings and have some camera sticking in my face.
What's the difference?
I'm at Bunnings to buy hardware.
But so a drunken revelry okay, or buying hardware not okay?
No, aren't they being used? Isn't the technology being used for different things? Isn't the technology in the city being used for law enforcement? Whereas the Kmart, Big W, Bunnings facial recognition is being used for consumer behaviour.
Yes, that's accurate.
Yeah.
So what?
I think it's an impertinence. If you're good enough to go and spend your hard-earned cash at some massive foreign-owned hardware store, when you could be much happier going to Mitre 10.
What's the insidious use? Wouldn't it just be like, well, at this time of day, these people turn up, so it might be better if we had a pile of timber that they generally buy at the front of the store as opposed to at the back? Like, it's not... They're not sending it off to the KGB, are they?
No, I don't know. They're trying to get you to buy more stuff. They're playing with your minds. It annoys me. It unnerves me. I think it unnerves a lot of people. Yeah.
See, I don't get it. I don't get that, and I don't get the one in the city concerns about that either. The vox pops that I saw on news services about this were people sort of saying it's an invasion of privacy. We'll hear from them a little bit later. Walking down Rundle Mall with 10,000 people going to a shop, I don't have 7 more seeing you doing it.
I don't know what the difference is between the current CCTV arrangements. And
they don't have facial recognition technology. So it's a step beyond someone simply monitoring it and saying, hang on, let me have a look here. Is there any mischief going on? Or there was something that went wrong and I'm going to go back and review the tape. It is camera technology that at all times will know if your profile is in the system. There's David. Now he's walking down there. Now he's gone into some department store. Now he's come out at 4:15. It will know every individual what they're doing at all times in that space, essentially. Whereas now that can't happen without an actual human being sitting there and saying, "Well, there are our people of interest. That's the incident we want." Basically, it's the digital element of it.
The end point is interesting though. Like, say we have another pandemic. Like, there's governments around the world you can imagine licking their lips. In fact, there might even be governments already doing this. What a great way to make sure that everyone's definitely not leaving their house.
I think that's not an illogical conclusion.
Yeah. Do you like that idea? That during lockdown, you're told that not only you're not allowed to leave your house, if you do leave the house, there's facial recognition technology that's going to be at the end of your street, or maybe every driveway is going to have a little thing attached to their letterbox.
I don't think the problem with that is the camera. Then that's the law, because what we're saying, if we don't like the cameras involved in that incident, is that we actually didn't really observe the law in the first place, and we think it was an unfair law. So to me, the camera is just it's providing no wiggle room. There's this idea that, well, I could have gone out during lockdown and I would have gotten away with it. Isn't a sign that it was good we didn't have cameras. It's just a sign we didn't believe in the law in the first place.
To be honest, I'm not someone who ever reads what are those techie websites like Gizmodo. Any technological story.
Gizmodo's great. I like Gizmodo. They're good stuff.
Yeah, I see those articles and I get 3 paragraphs in and go, oh, this is all very interesting. And I might just start Googling something like how to make a bread and butter pudding with leftover panettone, which is actually really easy. I did it last night. It's good. Those Christmas cakes?
You're getting
it lasts
early.
Forever? No, I had an old one. Found it in the pantry.
Oh, right.
And it expired 2 weeks ago.
live dangerously.
I thought, well, it might have expired. I'll open it up. I'll see what it looks like. It was in pristine condition.
Beautiful.
And I thought, if I'm cooking it, it doesn't really matter. Hey, do you reckon that 20% of people in Adelaide's eastern suburbs who voted for the Greens are starting to get a bit of buyer's remorse?
Yeah, we're going to play some audio on this and talk about it after 7 o'clock. You mean Adam Bant and his flag antics?
That was ridiculous.
They're
so divisive.
No, they're juvenile. They're so juvenile.
Yeah, that is first-year art stuff, isn't it?
It is.
That's occupying the refectory because the fish is from South Africa, which actually happened at Adelaide Uni in 1987. I remember someone had a placard. There was a protest because the Mayo refectory at Adelaide Uni, this is during when apartheid was still going, they bought all of this like flake or something from Johannesburg, and all these students found out about it, and it was like, why don't they just go around killing black people instead? And but someone had a placard that said, the fish has blood on its hands. Is it, in an evolutionary sense, is that even possible? Like maybe they're talking about the coelacanth. You know, remember the fish that grew sort of stubby little flippers so it could crawl out of the mud?
First amphibian.
Bit like a mud skipper, you know. Fish had blood on its hands.
I mean, Adam Bant was from Adelaide originally.
He might have been there.
Do you think he was involved?
I feel bad being rude about Adam Bant, given we spent so much good times together at the Penishore IGA when we were on Kangaroo Island. Oh, g'day, Adam. Hello, yeah, good to see you again. But he lost me yesterday.
Yeah, I thought that was ridiculous. For those that don't know, the Elder press conference where they got rid of the Australian flag, they had the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander flags there, which is old Anthony Albanese's had all three behind him for press conferences. They made a big point of it. It was quite showy. I actually hate talking about it because I think everyone sitting around talking about it getting angry is precisely the response they wanted. It is that sort of juvenile first-year political stunt that's designed to irritate people and get their subjects all titillated and excited.
I actually think it's more serious than that, though, in a different kind of a way. I actually think these people are almost like a right-wing conspiracy. Because I reckon at the moment, like, it's really important that we have a proper discussion about the voice to Parliament. I think that for Indigenous people, they've been, you know, left out of the census until 1967, and now they're at a point where they're saying, well, look, all we want to be able to do is have some sort of advisory group that says, look, maybe this is a better way to administer housing policy or health spending in the APY lands or whatever it is. Just give them some sort of input into that. The Greens are more than anyone on the right, more than Andrew Bolt, more than Paul Murray. These half-wits are going to wreck it because they're out there saying, we hate the Australians so much we're going to tear it down. Now, I saw Indigenous people yesterday saying, isn't the whole point of reconciliation that everybody coexists? It's not about replacing one form of tyranny with another. But beyond that, their whole view on this voice thing is, we want a treaty first. So everything about their position is based on guilt. You're guilty if you like the flag. Most people looking at that yesterday, the reason they do get so peed off is they go, what? I actually like taking the flag with me when I go to the cricket. I've got a flag sticker on the back of my car. Does that make me a racist? So they've pushed all those people into the hostile camp. And every time people hear treaty first, voice maybe, they go, okay, so what? Is this? I'm going to pay like billions of dollars for some big national compensation scheme through my taxes at a time when lettuces cost $12 each. The Greens are a walking ad for a no vote.
People might want to rethink where they park their protest vote next election.
Well, tell me about it.
The Automasters text line 0480831395. Someone said, do you know a lot of Macca's drive-thrus have number plate recognition and facial recognition?
Now, that I don't mind. Okay. I mean, if I go down to the corner of Cross Road and Goodwood Road and just drive in and they just automatically hand me a quarter pounder with bacon and extra pickles, I go, this facial recognition thing's going all right. I didn't even have to say anything. They just looked at me.
Peter at the Brosser says, does this mean Jason Bourne will be easier to track down? I suspect so, Peter. It's going to make the life of the... he's the star of the Bourne series of books and the Bourne films that Matt Damon starred in. You know, Bourne Identity and all that kind of stuff. They were books originally.
Yeah. Born on the 4th of July. There's another one.
No, that's not a Bourne. That's a Tom Cruise film. Jeff says it was about Vietnam.
A Star is Born?
That was Bradley Cooper.
That's right.
No, originally it wasn't. It was...
Born Free. That was another one.
Okay. Jeff says this is China all over with cameras everywhere. Thank you, Jeff. And someone else says, how do you make a digital recognition camera with Panettone? That's the question that ties the room together. 0-4808-1395 is the number. You might have some thoughts on Adam Banton, the Greens saying they don't want the Australian flag in the background of their press conferences too. Interested in your thoughts on that. 8223 News headlines next.
Incontinence affects 1 in 10 men in Australia of all ages. That's about 5,300 blokes at the footy when Adelaide Oval is full. This may stop some men from getting out and enjoying life as they can't dispose of their incontinence products. That's why this World Continence Week, Continence Foundation of Australia is advocating for incontinence disposal bins to be installed in male public toilets across Australia. Go to binsforblokes.org.au to pledge your support. Bins for Blokes, an initiative of Continence Foundation of Australia.
We lost Dad to prostate cancer.
Breast cancer nearly took Mum away.
My little brother is living with leukemia.
My pa caught his bowel cancer early.
Make your donation as personal as your story. You can target the cancer that's hurt you most with Cancer Council SA. Learn more or donate at cancersa.org.au.
Are you looking for a better job? A job with more flexible shifts, salary packaging and great learning opportunities? A job with a charity where you can make a difference to the lives of older people every day?
Well, look no further than Southern Cross Care. It's an organisation with a dedicated team of more than 2,700 people from 55 different countries working across 3 states and territories.
Southern Cross Care has roles available across South Australia for nurses, carers, chefs, cleaners, allied health professionals and more. There's great flexibility with shifts and locations to suit your lifestyle.
Get the balance you need to support your family and enjoy what's important to you. Work with an amazing team who will care about you and help you build the career you want.
Make a positive difference in the lives of older people. Apply now at southerncrosscare.com.au.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our winter stock take sale is on now and you'll save up to 40%. Save on our comfortable leather and fabric sofas, sofa beds, recliners, dining tables, dining chairs, including our Australian-made collection. And you can customise to your heart's content. Be part of our massive winter stock take sale and save up to 40%. At Berkowitz, we're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. In-store at Mile End Homemaker Centre and online.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 6. News headlines time on this Tuesday, the 21st of June. Shortest day of the year today.
Make the most of it.
We 5:12.
5:12.
Sunrise is at 7:24 this morning, so we're not getting a hell of a lot of daylight. My father's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. That's why I always noted as the shortest day of the year. He always took great delight in saying, my birthday, I always get the shortest day of the year.
Yeah.
He'd sort of do that bit of a hangdog.
Like,
Yeah.
Other people get an extra...
Yeah, that's right, 20 minutes of sunlight.
So it's not really right to call it the shortest. It's the darkest day of the year.
Yeah, it's the least amount of daylight of the year.
It still goes for 24 hours, though.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Your Melbourne man is in Milan flying the Australian flag at the World Coffee Championships. Veneziano Coffee Roasters Operations and Production Manager Daniel Shadbolt says it's effectively a blind roasting.
There's 22 competitors this year, each from a different country. The competition's been running for quite a few years now. And yeah, it's basically we walk in, we don't know what we're roasting, we don't know where it's from. They tell us what it is on the spot and we've got to come up with a plan to roast it.
That's the most Melbourne thing ever, isn't it?
We would have to win this. I actually think we have the most... I don't want to use a swear word, but we have the most la-di-da coffee culture in the world, in Australia, I think.
Like pretentious?
That's the word. That's a better word. We have the most pretentious coffee culture in the world.
Pretentious? Moi?
Yeah.
How good is that joke? Have you got a coffee machine?
Yep.
Like a...
No, just a pods.
Okay.
Just a pods, not a full steamer. Airport workers who had their jobs axed by Qantas last year are still struggling to find work. A survey of more than 1,000 outsourced baggage handlers found close to half don't have permanent jobs. Transport Workers Union National Assistant Secretary Nick McIntosh says in some cases it's had a tragic impact.
quarter of these workers experienced a relationship breakdown. 1 in 3 developed a mental health condition, and 1 in 10 have experienced suicidal thoughts. It's, of course, tragic to hear these figures, but it's no great surprise when workers with decades of experience and loyalty to a company are suddenly illegally turfed out.
There's a really interesting international aviation conference yesterday in the Middle East that I was reading about, where the head of Qatar Airlines, Mr. Mohammed bin whatever his name was, said they've got real problems at a time of such high employment globally, attracting staff now because other businesses are using work from home as a selling point. And he said airlines, where by definition, in most of the roles you have to be based at the airport or on the plane, in most parts of their operations, they can't compete with what he said has become this completely unjustifiable sort of lifestyle choice. You can see it with labour shortages everywhere. You see it with SAPOL at the moment. Can't get cadets.
What typically follows that I've yet to see evidence of, and maybe it's a sign that there are greater economic pressures, is that when there's high employment, low unemployment, wages are meant to go up. And this is part of the equation I think a lot of businesses that have had to deal with this for 35 plus years are struggling with at the moment. Sometimes the reason you can't get anyone, you've got to offer more money.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Look, there's a reason people aren't coming to do your job at the moment. And I don't know the situation with baggage handlers, although we did that interview with the airport recently. That's the whole dynamic of low unemployment equals high wages, but it requires businesses to say, well, we need people. We're going to have to fork out a little bit more than we used to. That's obviously easier said than done at the moment. Australia will send $50 million in emergency aid to Sri Lanka to help the country through its worst economic crisis in 70 years. Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill is currently in Colombo to address the apparent rise in asylum seeker boats bound for Australia. They had China build them all sorts of nice new infrastructure in Sri Lanka. I wonder if they've come to their aid to help out at all.
Probably not.
The state government is promising to improve protection for healthcare workers. New stats show a rise in hospital violence, with more than 4,300 incidents recorded in 2021, compared to under 3,000 in 2017. I wonder if there's a pandemic element to that. It comes as EDs across Adelaide were at capacity yesterday in code white, meaning that there were more patients being treated than beds available. A vaccine which combats COVID and the flu could be available in coming years. US pharmaceutical giant Moderna is pushing forward with the development of a new product. It's carrying out trials and will soon launch a phase 1 study for a shot that fights flu, COVID and RSV. Let's have a quick look at the weather before we turn our attention to sport. Tom Wren's in the studio now. It's 10.4 outside at the moment. Top of 16 today with 3 mils of rain about the place, most likely during the afternoon. Rennie, thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Good morning to you.
Will, good morning to you and David. Great radio last night, I thought, with Matty Nix, the coach. You know, he was on for a good half hour with the boys, Rowie and Biggs. He was asked specifically about where the list is at. There's a bit of agitation at the moment. You boys were talking to me about it yesterday. Where is this club at? 5 straight years of missing the finals. Let's have just a small snippet of what he had to say about the rebuild last night.
Yeah, are we on track? Well, my word, we are. Are we getting everything right? No. So we will continue to, ask ourselves questions, continue to look at getting better. There's so many areas of our game where they were really strong to start the season. We pumped. Stoppage was one of our weapons for the first month to 6 weeks of the year, and it's now being questioned. So we'll continue to look at that, change that up. It's always a work in progress. So we are in a dip, though, guys. We're in a bit of a rut at the moment, and a lot of sides go through it. Not just sides rebuilding. We are rebuilding. We're in a bit of a rut. We've got to find our way out.
Do we know whether? I'm sure we do, or we could find out easily. Was that a regular scheduled interview in the same way that we have a regular scheduled interview with, like, the police commissioner, or was this a ring the crows and say, listen, we need the coach? The fans, the dogs are barking. We need the coach to come on. It felt to me like it's the second category.
I believe it's the second.
I think it's the second because I think it was everywhere. Yes, he did the rounds,
the
radio rounds.
It was damage control.
Exactly, it's a damage control interview because the club's worked out the mood is, for God's sake, stop serving up this rubbish.
I'll tell you what. Look, the glass half full. There's a couple of things I like. Sam Berry, I think they've found one there. Jake Saligo, I think they've found one there. If I could just put in the 2 cents worth, and it must be hard when you're the coach. You've got all these people throwing ideas at you, but just a couple that I reckon they could try. Play the kids where they've been naturally good. Pedler, 9 games to go. Let's have a look. Can he play?
Top 10.
Run him through the middle. If it means you lose a few games that you might have otherwise won, get him in there. Let's see whether or not he can play. Run him through. Braden Cook, get him in the side, run him through the midfield. Now, if this means putting Rory Laird back in defence, Matt Crouch has to play on a half-forward flank or maybe even come out of the side, you're going to have to make a couple of these calls. I think it's time to have a look at now, where is this list actually at? And let's see, for 9 games, boys, you are playing for the next 6 to 8, 9 games. Show us what you've got, and then we'll have a proper look at whether or not you can actually cut the mustard.
What you've hit on exactly correctly there, Rennie, is I think the frustration that fans have is that in some parts it feels half pregnant, the rebuild. Is it a no-holds-barred look at the future and a development year, or is it a year where you're trying to maximise how many wins you can get?
Yeah.
Because that's why the Braden Cook being out of the side, I think he's the most talented. He just about is the most talented young guy on the list.
Another one too, Will, that I like is Scholl. I think he can play in a wing. Hamill, I would like to get back in that side as well. Parnell looks like he's got a beautiful leg on him. Get the ball in his hands.
Playing.
Miller as a defensive distributor, I think that's his go. Look, my opinion, our opinions. There's a lot of them. I get that, but I think these kids, they've got to start to have a sustained.
But to that end, and to put out the flames of discontent amongst the fans, if the same results were being arrived at with the team constituted as you've described it, Rennie, people aren't as angry. Yeah. The problem is you're getting subpar results and you're not seeing development and you're not seeing some of those guys.
Well, the thing that cost Don Pike his job in the end, probably a few things, but the one thing that really was the nail in his coffin was that he kept playing this sort of optimal side with a few old stages in it with a view to trying to get a win, as opposed to saying throw it out. And John Olsen's been quite candid about it. We are in a rebuild phase. He says that clearly, repeatedly. The issue is we still seem to be in a rebuild phase 5 years on, and to your point there, is the personnel management strategy the right one? Because it looks like we've drifted into the Don Pike zone.
Well, and there's a bit of this that the club can't say. That I sometimes now wonder, given some of the selections and the choices that have been made on match days, whether Matthew Nicks wonders this in private moments. You guys just haven't given me the young guys that I can play.
Well, which goes back to recruitment and...
Yeah. Now, I don't know that he knows that, but there's no way the club or he could say that.
Of course.
But you're forced to wonder now. Does he just go, well, listen, guys, I'd love to play all these tie draft picks. I just don't think they're any good.
Yeah. Well, Fisher Mackesy, I mean, did they just miss one there?
Well...
well, that's not on Nicks, that's on other people.
That's right. So to give him some cover, it's a line the club can't say. But you're forced to wonder that, given the way things have been playing out this year.
Now, he's had some extenuating circumstances, and hopefully, he's getting back, but he's still in the sand for, not lighting it up there. So
could have kicked 4 on Friday night, actually.
Yeah.
He's moved forward and he's looked a little bit better.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
so
I'm cheering for him. I hope he comes good.
Exactly. And he had some personal issues he was dealing with, significant ones last season, so hopefully he gets that right. But yeah...
Who picks up Jordan De Goey? Comes with his own HR filing cabinet, that bloke. It's not actually a file, it's a 3-drawer filing cabinet.
One of those big ones.
St Kilda of all clubs, Rennie. I mean, seriously.
Wow.
They've never had any peccadillos off the field.
Yeah.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
You don't just do a good barbie, you're the tong master. You're not flipping snags, you're the backyard hospitality director. So you deserve the very best outdoor kitchen from Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Choose from the best appliances, add a bar fridge or pizza oven, or stun your guests with one of our custom-made concrete bench tops. We do outdoor ones and indoor ones too. Get a quote today and you can be entertaining before summer. The best backyard hospitality directors choose Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
Hello, geeks to you? Nan can't get internet.
Well, we can help. Is Nan there?
Nana!
Tech problems? For remote or on-site help, go to geeks2u.com.au or 1300 geeks 2 u.
Adelaide property values are at an all-time high. They've grown by more than 25% over the past 12 months with really strong buyer demand. In most areas, demand is greater than supply and vendors are regularly getting multiple offers for homes with sold prices well above expectations.
Now, we know that our good friends at Toop and Toop work across all suburbs, and we can tell you right now that in Torrens Park, they're working with 4,928 buyers, 5,221 in Prospect and 5,011 in Tusmore, and they're all searching for their perfect property in these specific locations.
If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers Toop and Toop are working with in your suburb, go to toop.com.au.
FIVEaa Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to FIVEaa Facebook or search FIVEaa on YouTube. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Showers increasing in 16 today. With the 6:30 news, I'm Mel Usher. Well, the energy crisis isn't over yet. We're being warned of possible load shedding tonight between 6 and 8:30 p.m. But Energy Minister Tom Koutsantonis isn't expecting a problem. Meantime, profits made during the crisis by the power companies will be investigated by the consumer watchdog. COVID rules to enter New Zealand have officially eased. You no longer need a pre-flight test before travelling across the Tasman, but you will have to take 2 rapid swabs once you arrive. It's hoped the change of rules will bring more visitors ahead of the July school holidays. Human trials of a combination vaccine targeting COVID and the flu are expected to start later this year. Pharmaceutical giant Moderna is also working on a triple vaccine which targets another respiratory illness, RSV. Chief Medical Officer Dr Paul Burton says it could be a game changer.
We have a 3-in-1 which is COVID, flu and something called RSV. These are all respiratory pathogens that kill people, young and old, every year.
Airport workers who had their jobs axed by Qantas last year are still struggling to find work. A survey of more than 1,000 outsourced baggage handlers found close to half don't have permanent jobs. Transport Workers Union's Nick McIntosh says in some cases it's had a tragic impact.
A quarter of these workers experienced a relationship breakdown. 1 in 3 developed a mental health condition and 1 in 10 have experienced suicidal thoughts. It's of course tragic to hear these figures, but it's no great surprise when workers with decades of experience and loyalty to a company are suddenly illegally turfed out.
Qantas is appealing a High Court ruling which found its decision to outsource those staff was a breach of Fair Work laws. Australia will send $50 million in emergency aid to Sri Lanka to help the country through its worst economic crisis in 70 years. Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill is currently in Colombo to address the apparent rise in asylum seeker boats bound for Australia. Fighting is raging across several battlegrounds in Ukraine, with the conflict the most intense in the east. Joe Inwood is in Kiev.
The artillery weight that the Russians can bring just outmatches anything the Ukrainians have got, and they've been pounding their positions for weeks now. President Zelensky in his morning address was talking of difficult days to come, of an increasing Russian push. They say they've encircled the Ukrainian forces, they've destroyed all the bridges now, and I think what we're going to be seeing is the Russians really trying to press home any advantage they have. They have taken a little village just to the south of Severodonetsk recently, and I think they are trying to put as much pressure as they can on the Ukrainian forces, whose only option now, it seems, is to try and hold on.
The heartbroken owners of a missing King Charles Cavalier south of Adelaide have called in a pet detective. Floss vanished from their holiday home in Port Elliot 3 weeks ago. The Caders believe she was stolen. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide forward Zach Butters is hopeful he may miss only 1 to 2 weeks as a result of his latest injury setback. Ruckman Bryn Teakle could miss the season, though, after suffering a fractured collarbone. Power assistant coach Nathan Bassett telling Rowie, although it was disappointing, he can still see a bright future for the 22-year-old.
It was good to see him out there. Shame he didn't get a little bit longer, but he's wrapped to have played AFL footy, and I'm sure if he keeps working at his game, he'll get another chance.
Meantime, Collingwood is expected to defer contract talks with free agent Jordan De Goey as the fallout from his mid-season break in Bali continues. The Pies' most recent offer to re-sign the 26-year-old has been pulled. De Goey has met with club officials for high-level talks after his nightclub antics threw a further cloud over his future at the Pies. No resolution has been reached on a potential punishment from the club over De Goey's latest scandal. Well, Nick Kyrgios has moved up the world tennis rankings after some strong showings ahead of Wimbledon. The Aussie has climbed 20 spots to number 45, his best ranking in almost 2 years. Just a week out from Wimbledon, Alex de Minaur and John Millman, meantime, have won through to the round of 16 at the Eastbourne International in England. De Minaur has downed Chile's Christian Garin in straight sets, while Millman got the better of American Sebastian Korda 6-3, 7-6. And on the women's side, Ayla Tomljanovic had a 6-4, love 6, 6-3 win against Alexandra Krunic. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now.
Showers increasing 16 for your Tuesday, a shower or two tomorrow 17, Thursday sunny and 18, Friday showers and 16. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Sadly, insolvency is all too common these days, but there is another way. Through the new Small Business Restructure Initiative, Oracle Insolvency Services has helped people to keep control of their business, restructure their finances, and avoid insolvency for a stress-free future. If, like many South Aussies, you're worried about your financial future, call Oracle Insolvency Services on 1300 391 330. Oracle Insolvency Services, working to solve insolvency.
There's something you should know about SportsMed. We don't just provide knee, hip and shoulder care to elite athletes. Every day, we treat patients who simply want to get play with the kids fit, brisk walk fit or gardening fit. And having our clinic, hospital and specialists all based together at Stepney makes getting care for your joint pain and injuries, from diagnosis to rehabilitation, even easier. So get back to doing what you love. Speak with your GP for a referral. sportsmed.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
It's 24 minutes to 7. Police and weather coming up in a moment. Hero of the week before 7 o'clock. Then after 7 today, we're going to talk about the reality confronting South Australian schools, 11 of which right now are employing security guards to keep an eye on things, keep order under control. There's been 10 incidents a week this year involving weapons in schools. It's staggering.
I cannot think of anything like that in my time at school in the 80s, 70s and 80s. Like, if someone took a knife to school, it would have been page one of the Advertiser for a week.
It's happening a lot. We'll talk about that. The Adam Bant flag stunt, and also there's a massive train strike on in the UK, the biggest in decades, that's going to throw a whole heap of things into chaos, including the Glastonbury Festival, which is meant to be taking place in the middle of all this. So you can get 200,000 odd unhappy youths trying to march their way to a pretty filthy music concert. So we'll talk about all that after 7 o'clock today. I wonder if any of our listeners have had issues with Australia Post in the last couple of years with regard to things not arriving, or at least taking a circuitous route. I don't think anyone's going to beat a couple of stories that A Current Affair had on in their most recent edition. The first I just want to take you through on a little journey, an audio journey, is a man who bought a present for his wife. This actually sounds like the start of a convenient excuse, but it turns out it's borne out by the facts. Nick Goodrick bought a present for his wife and wanted it delivered. Here's the path that it took. So it was purchased on the 31st of May and was posted from Geraldton in Western Australia.
May of when?
May of this year, I assume.
Yep.
6 days later, it was processed at a facility in Sydney's West. Then an hour later, it was en route to Brisbane. So far, so good. The following day, on the 7th of June, it was bound for the Gold Coast, which is where it was intended. But it ended up back in Sydney, and within a minute, the parcel was then sent back to Brisbane. It arrived a day later before being sent back to Sydney, and within 15 minutes, it went back to Brisbane again. The Goodricks made the joke in the story that they'd, in fact, had done less travel than the wife's gift had done in recent times. Bruce Greenway is a Gold Coast man who had a similar experience after leaving Yamba on the New South Wales North Coast on the 20th of May. Yamba, sorry, not a local. His package was processed at a facility in Sydney's West and was bound for Brisbane. It made it, but the following day it was redirected to Adelaide, not before stopping in the regional town of Parkes and then Melbourne. Within hours of it arriving in Adelaide, it was sent straight back to Brisbane, but it took a stop in Sydney on the way. When it reached Sydney again, it was then sent off to Adelaide, back to Adelaide again. And as soon as it got to Adelaide, it made the long trip back north and finally arrived at his house 18 days and 24 stops later. Here he is talking to A Current Affair about that.
So a very well-travelled little package. And the funny thing is, it seemed to like particular places because it kept going back there.
Did you ever expect this parcel to arrive?
No, not really, and I don't think the supplier did either. That's why, out of the goodness of his heart, he sent me a replacement supply.
So the replacement obviously got there on time. Australia Post, for their part, issued a statement saying they deliver up to 14 million parcels a week. The vast majority arrive safely and on time. I don't think vast majority is the kind of inner-service industry you want to put in a press release, but anyway, it's in their statement. Sometimes issues such as incorrect address details, smudged or ineligible writing, or an incorrect postcode can create challenges for us, and occasionally our sorting machines can get it wrong. Australia Post says once they heard about these two cases, they were able to rectify it fairly quickly. But I actually don't think this is all that uncommon at the moment. There is so much stuff that's turning up in the post.
Well, part of it too would be personnel. I mean, I was just reading in the 6:30 news break. There's huge queues at the moment at the Adelaide airport, and like snaking out the door. And in fact, folks, if you're in the queue at the Adelaide airport, listening to us on the app or on your headphones, ping us a text on the Automasters text line 0448081395, or better, give us a ring on 82230000. It's all down to rostering. Like the airport say, well, look, we're doing our best, but there are days when, like in the last week, I've heard of three people I know have got COVID. Like, it's not like it's gone away.
No.
There's still big personnel issues, filling rosters and so forth. And, 14 million, the scale of the logistical task in running that is immense, isn't it? When you consider a generation ago, the post office was the place where you sent letters and paid bills.
I don't think it's that long ago that we were talking about, what's the future of the post?
Well, now it's basically sort of cheek by jowl working with eBay and Amazon as a giant warehouse.
It's become absolutely fundamental. I reckon 20,
How often do you get
25
something
years
home
ago,
delivered?
Oh, at the moment, with a baby on the way, every 10 minutes. I'm thinking about cancelling our credit cards.
Oh, you won't have to soon,
the
mate.
bank, before the
You
bank
won't have
steps
one.
in. That's right. But in all seriousness...
Hey, the good news is I've started finding stuff for you.
Oh, good man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not all of it might be usable, but I'm just going to bring it in anyway.
How very kind of you. It's very thoughtful. Oh, there's one that'll age everyone. It'll make you feel old. It's a big happy birthday today to Prince William. His 40th birthday. 40 years old is Prince William. 40. I don't know how you celebrate your 40th if you're the highest, third in line to the throne. I'm sure it's a pretty good shindig. Second in line to the throne.
Charles, then him.
Oh, okay. I was counting the Queen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What would you get him for his 40th? What do you get the man who's got everything?
Tough ask, isn't it?
Mm.
Keepsake?
Probably just a bottle of wine. He's probably got a pretty good cellar. Imagine how much stuff they'd get given.
Sam suggested we send him a David and Will 5AA breakfast keep.
Hey, why don't we do that?
I bet he
That's a
hasn't
great
got one of
idea,
those.
Sam.
He wouldn't have one of them.
No. I know he listens when he's in town.
He's texted occasionally. He's got a pseudonym.
Exactly. Dougie from Wollonga.
Hey, this is fantastic. If you know someone who's doing it tough or would benefit from receiving Elite Computers Breeze 404 14-inch notebook, we want you to let us know, and maybe together with Leader Computers, we can help out. All you need to do is visit the 5AA win page, and you've got 25 words in which to tell us who should be awarded with the Leader Computer and why. You might not know this, but Leader Computers is a national PC manufacturer, the largest 100% Australian PC brand, and they're all built right here in Adelaide. They're serviced right here in Adelaide. You call up with an issue, and it'll get fixed right here in Adelaide. So help support them and let them support the South Australian community. If you've got a friend, maybe it's a school that needs some more hardware, or a sporting club that you'd like to nominate, get on to 5AA.com.au and let us know. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Hey, there's an absolute mountain of texts about Adam Bant tearing down the Australian flag before his press conference yesterday. We won't have time to get to all of them, but there are so many. And I'll tell you, if anybody out there supports Adam Bant, please send us a text, because so far we have 0.0 texts along those lines. Joe says the Greens Party are a walking, talking hypocrisy. They actually represent everything that they're against. They're dividers, not uniters. One here, as usual, the minority telling the majority what to do. Indigenous Australians have a wonderful culture, but Bant is turning people against people. That's from Ed in Beulah Park. Another one here from Todd. The Greens hate Australia. They hate Australians. Mark from Para Hills. Disgraceful Adam Bant. Go work somewhere else. You should appreciate our flag. And this one from Trevor, I think this is very true. Dave, I think many people still think the Greens are only about the environment. Maybe with a bit more parliamentary representation, we'll hear more of their left and extreme policies, and the general population will see them for who they really are. I think, as I said at the start of the show, the 26% of voters at the Sky booth in the eastern suburbs who voted for the Greens on the federal election might be going, oh, that's not quite what I expected.
15 to 7. Let's check traffic.
Good morning. A few things to look out for today. A Clearview smash on Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road. Around Crayford, fog on the freeway near Mount Barker Road, down to 80 k's above the tunnels. A couple of burst waterways, one at Netley, Marion Road near Watson Avenue, and another one at Plimpton Cross Road near Anzac Highway, down to 40 k's. Wollonga smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill. Take care through there and keep your eye out for a camera up Blacktop Road out One Tree Hill. Woolworths Direct to Boot is a quick and convenient way to shop. They pick and pop your order into your boot. You just have to order on the Woolworths app or online. Select locations, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Get set for Adelaide Cabaret Festival, the biggest cabaret festival in the world, June 10 to 25 at Adelaide Festival Centre. This year, Adelaide Cabaret Festival is led by international star and Australian icon, singer-songwriter Tina Arena. Settle in for elegant evenings of dazzling cabaret with some of the best entertainers, artists and comedians in the biz at this joyful and immersive celebration of the arts. Adelaide Cabaret Festival, June 10 to 25. To book and see what's in store, visit adelaidecabaretfestival.com. Looking for huge savings on tiles, taps, vanities, even the loo? Look no further than Beaumont's. With so much on sale, you'll save a fortune on tiles, bathroomware, hybrid flooring, and yeah, even the loo. With so much on sale, you'll be happy you chose Beaumont's.
If you want a retaining wall that will last through searing summers, wet winters and everything in between, you must use concrete sleepers from Outback Sleepers.
These things are great. They're perfect for building a retaining wall or garden edging, and they come in a variety of patterns and colours.
Outback Sleepers are the strongest concrete sleepers on the market and come with a 35-year product warranty. Once you put that in, it's there for a lifetime. If your builder is not using Outback Sleepers, you need to be asking why not.
Yeah, get stuck right into them. In the last 20 years, this SA company has made over 3 million Outback sleepers. They'll last for generations because the company that makes them only makes concrete sleepers, nothing else.
If you want to get your hands on some, ask for the brand Outback Sleepers, sold at over 60 local landscaping and hardware stockists. Look online at outbacksleepers.com.au.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Once upon a time, laptops were assumed to have less features than their desktop counterparts. Now it's laptops like the HP Pavilion series that are stealing all the thunder. The new HP Pavilion X360 lets you create, share and connect in more ways. Streaming, chatting and getting things done is way more fun when you find your perfect position. You can flex, bend and flip from anywhere with a 360-degree hinge and long-lasting battery life. Multitasking feels easy and fast with a high-performance 11th generation Intel Core i3 processor. You also might assume that a laptop with all these features carries a big price tag. Wrong. At Harvey Norman, the HP Pavilion X360 is only $798, plus you'll score a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers. If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics. But what do you get? Try next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast, David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 to 7 here on the week coming up shortly. Time to check the weather for today. Senior forecaster Vince Rowlands at the Weather Bureau is on the line. Morning to you, Vince.
Morning, guys.
What have we got ahead?
Yeah, look,
bit of shower activity just moved across the metro area this morning. There's still a little bit on the radar, not much though, but we are expecting showers to pick up a little bit again later this afternoon and evening. We've got a very weak little trough moving across the south, so yeah, might get a bit of a break over the next few hours, but still expecting the odd shower to move through during the afternoon and evening. So might again see a couple of millimetres across the city during today. We ended up with 4 millimetres so far since yesterday 9 a.m, so yeah, not too bad. A bit more up in the hills, but generally over the next couple of days expecting around a couple of millimetres on each of the days. So yeah, showers returning, or basically just increasing a bit this afternoon, continuing during tomorrow morning but easing during the day. And, then we're ending up with a fine day on Thursday, which is pretty good. But top of 16 across the metro area today, a bit cooler at Mount Barker of 15 degrees. But we will see temperatures just picking up a little bit tomorrow to 17 degrees, as I said. Looking like a fine day on Thursday. Quite a bit of sun around, so looking pretty good, top of 18 degrees. But it is short-lived. We do see another frontal feature moving through early Friday morning, so we'll see a return to showery, wintry conditions as we head towards the weekend. We've got a top of 16 on Friday, maybe up to about 4 or 5 millimetres of rain across the metro area, and then showers continuing over the weekend with top of 15 on Saturday, 14 for Sunday and 14 again on Monday. So yeah, looking forward to Thursday. Looks like really the only dry day in the next 7 days across Adelaide.
Good on you, Vince.
Thank you, Vince Rowland, senior forecaster at the Bureau. Let's go to SAPOL. Matt Brown is on duty there at the moment. Matt, there was a hit run at Erbray last night.
That's right. Well, just after 7:30pm, emergency services were called to the intersection of Fullerton Road and Kitchener Street after reports that a Peugeot station wagon had collided with the rear of a parked truck. Now, the car had been stolen from a car park at Torrance Park earlier that night while the victim was at work. And the owner of the truck was nearby and was able to provide a description of the suspect driver who ran away after the crash. He's described as being of Caucasian appearance, about 180 centimetres tall, solid build, short hair, and was wearing dark clothing. So anyone who may have witnessed the crash or saw the Peugeot driving erratically in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Matt, also, a bit more mayhem on the roads. A teenager's been arrested after crashing a stolen car at Gawler South.
That's right, David. Just before 9pm last night, police were called to a Gawler South address after the owner reported that her car had been stolen. Now, the Toyota RAV4 was last seen heading west on 6th Street, and just before midnight, Polly tracked the vehicle being driven around Gawler South before it was seen to crash into a fence on 5th Street where it caught on fire. The driver got out of the vehicle and ran east, and Polly continued to follow the suspect for a short time until patrols caught up with her nearby. So a 13-year-old girl from Gawler South was arrested and charged with theft of a motor vehicle, unlawful possession, driving unlicensed, and failing to maintain proper control. She was granted bail to appear in the youth court at a later date.
Good stuff there, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. 8223 0000 is our number. If you'd like to call in right now with a Hero of the Week nomination, you can text us as well on the Automasters text line 044808 1395. I'm ready to draw one conclusion based on the text this morning, David. It may be proven wrong in the next few moments, and that is that Adam Bant will not be being nominated for Hero of the Week this morning by our listeners.
No.
They're increasingly...
What about that time we had him on? Actually, that was quite a nice chat. That was when he was talking about how he grew up in Adelaide. And his dad worked at Holden.
Yeah, I actually think, divorced of politics, he's a reasonable guy. It's just, some people's core beliefs are just fundamentally repulsive to others. And I think he would think similarly of some of our listeners as they do about him.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Devoid of...
Well, at least we tried.
It was once upon a time...
Can't we all get along?
You didn't talk about religion or politics. And I think those were a time where you could just appreciate a human being for who they were, rather than what they believed.
Yeah.
Which
yes.
Might be a better way to digest everything the Greens said. I'm sure they're nice privately.
I got to say though, I still have very fond memories of 1982, the dams dispute. I was so passionate about that as a kid. I was doing Year 9 at the time, and it was one of the things that made Hawke Prime Minister. It was just a huge groundswell. But yeah, it's a bit different from tearing down flags, isn't it?
Gotta hate this song. Hero of the Week time.
Can I just throw this forward? I just want to put this out there. I reckon the listeners might agree. Do you find the song abrasive? And do you think we should replace it with the line from Whitney Houston's The Greatest Love of All, everybody's searching for a hero? I think it's 6:50. You'd rather hear that.
No, I think we just got our solution. Sam's in the studio. What we'll just do is isolate David's little bit that he's just sung.
Easy.
And that can be the new intro to Heroes. Lucy's given it the big tick.
By the time next week comes around, he would have forgotten about it.
Whitney Houston's very expensive to get to record stuff for us. But
it's quite technically impossible now, given that she's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It is. It's very expensive.
We'd need to get Lizzie McCaskill in to organise that little recording.
Exactly right. Sam, who's your hero?
Morning. Quick backstory. All last week, my mum was at me, get your suit ready for Best of SA. Make sure it's ready to go. So Thursday night at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon comes around and I go, shit, she was right. It needs to be dry cleaned. So I run it down to the dry cleaners and they got it back to me just in time for about 4:30 Friday.
Still had a bit of Euros meat on it, did it, mate, from the other time?
It didn't look its greatest. So luckily, thanks to, I think it was Acres down at Port Adelaide, got my dry cleaning done in time.
Good job. Thank you, Sam.
Big shout out to Acres at Port Adelaide.
Absolutely. Hero of the week.
I'm going for the mighty Nungawarri Saints.
Yes.
I thought that interview yesterday was great. 8 years without a win. 2014, July 2014, their last victory. Testament to perseverance and tenacity, but also just a hugely important reminder of the role that country football teams play for particularly small and remote towns. Good on the Nungawarri Saints.
The mighty Saints. Luce, who's your hero?
Hello, mine is Jacinda Ardern, New Zealand Prime Minister, for her candidness on social media. She posted on her Instagram story, the ones that disappear after 24 hours, for parenting tips. She said, in the office kitchen, making the strongest tea possible, pre-morning media rounds, and wondering how many other parents have a 3-year-old that suddenly gets up all through the night. Tips welcome. And she's posted a selfie of her looking a little bit worse for wear.
Did she get any tips? Or you can't see, they go privately to her.
They go privately to her. So Jacinda Ardern for her candidness. And also on the footy chat, the Freeling footy team have just broken a drought as well. Not as long as 8 years.
Freeling up Clare Way.
Yes, Mid-North. They have... they had a win on the weekend since 2019, so it's been over 1,000 days for them, and they've just had a win as well. So another regional footy drought broken.
Oh, good on
the Freeling A-graders.
Remember years ago, it was the Aldinga Sharks with the laughing stock of the competition. I think they've come good now, though. They had the footy show flew down there. Was it Shane Crawford coached them?
I think
for a week.
I've got a vague memory of that.
Their helicopter landed there just behind the bakery.
They'll be fine. They're close enough to the city. Those inner regional country leagues are just flush with cash.
Yeah.
Not all the clubs are, to be fair, but often there's plenty of money in the league. I want to give a shout-out here of the week to Kate Campbell. The speech that she provided to FIVEaa on the transgender issue is in the paper today, and I do so to highlight a fact that, unfortunately, by virtue of Twitter, social media, and column writing, I think often we establish a position on some of these really nuanced debates through ideologues and people that are very passionate about one side or another.
Totally.
And her speech made the point that none of this is fun. She doesn't take great comfort in the position she ultimately adopted, which is that she upholds it because she says sport has to be fair at the end of the day, but she takes no joy in it, and it was difficult and anguished, and it was the most nuanced piece I've read about this whole thing. Because she didn't act like there was a right answer. And she made the point, someone gets hurt no matter what decision we make. I thought it was excellent. It's in the Times this morning, and you can read it.
Page 15, check it out.
Check it out. Sam now maybe will be a late nomination for Hero of the Week because he's prepared the new intro for Hero of the Week next Tuesday.
Where everybody's searching for a hero.
That's it. So next Tuesday...
terrible.
Next Tuesday...
Can I change it to... Did you ever know you were my hero?
As long as if you sing it, it'll be the song.
Oh, I had one chance and I blew it, Luce just said. Where everybody's searching for a hero.
7:07, 5 to 1 news on the way. Back with more in just a moment.
Can you believe it? It's the end of financial year already. Hi, it's Callum here for Edwardstown Mazda. And if you're thinking about a new Mazda, now is the time to jump in. See the team at Edwardstown Mazda today for unbeatable end of financial year deals. LMVD 207 428.
Do you want fresh filtered water flowing through your home? Choose a system by Complete Home Filtration. Joining me from Complete Home Filtration is Suzanne Dodds, who incidentally won the Telstra 2022 Business Awards. So what's the benefits of filtered water, Suzanne?
Well, the benefits of filtering water for the whole home mean that you don't just enjoy filtered water for drinking, but for showering and bathing as well. So people see big differences in softer skin, softer hair, unlimited bottled water, quality water from every tap.
That sounds great. So where can we purchase one?
You can just jump online and go to completehomefiltration.com.au.
That's completehomefiltration.com.au.
Taste, feel, see the difference. Hi, it's Jane. Now here's something you may not know. When you park at UPark, all profits support our city. It means you're helping to keep Adelaide clean and our beautiful parklands thriving. Park at UPark and help preserve Adelaide's unique heritage and celebrate the local creativity and events that bring our city to life. Choose from one of 10 UParks across Adelaide for convenient, affordable parking. Support our city by choosing to park local. Visit upark.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers increasing 16 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. A driver is wanted following a crash at Urbray. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the incident at the intersection of Fullerton Road and Kitchener Street happened just after 7:30 last night.
The Peugeot station wagon had collided with the rear of a parked truck. Now, the car had been stolen from a car park at Torrance Park earlier that night while the victim was at work. And the owner of the truck was nearby and was able to provide a description of the suspect driver who ran away after the crash.
He's described as Caucasian, around 180 centimetres tall with a solid build and short hair. Anyone who may have witnessed the crash or saw the Peugeot driving erratically is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. The profits of power companies during the energy crisis will be at the centre of an investigation by the Consumer Watchdog. The ACCC has the power to look into the balance books of energy generators and will examine the possible collusion between big power companies. Meantime, another warning has been issued for Adelaide between 6 and 8:30 tonight. Adelaide's dedicated COVID hotel could be repurposed. Tom's Court on King William Street housed positive patients during the height of the pandemic. The new state government is now looking into whether the vacant property could offer emergency winter housing. An Australian woman has been killed in northern Pakistan. Brady Evans has the story.
The mother of three was allegedly murdered by her father-in-law with an axe. The pair reportedly got into an argument over her plans to return to Australia when she was attacked. A statement from her father says he found her in the bathroom as her father-in-law was allegedly hitting her with an axe. It's believed her husband was working in Bahrain as an engineer at the time.
A Hollywood actor is seeing war-torn Ukraine firsthand, highlighting the stories of people fleeing the country. Carrie-Anne Greenbank has more.
Actor and director Ben Stiller has visited Ukraine as a UN Goodwill Ambassador to discuss the needs of refugees, as Ukraine's president warns he's expecting Russia to intensify its attacks this week, as European leaders consider whether to allow Ukraine to join the EU. The Ukrainian government is now preparing for a renewed Russian assault in the Luhansk region in the east of the country.
It's the shortest day of the year. Dr. Hadrian de Villepoix says the winter solstice is due to the angle of the Earth's spin.
So from a scientific point of view, so the Earth on its orbit is a little bit tilted by about 23 degrees. And as it rotates around the sun, one hemisphere we get more light because of this tilt than the other.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide coach Matthew Nicks insists just because players are dropped, it doesn't mean their progress or development has necessarily stalled. Several players have found themselves in and out of the side this year, including Chase Jones and Harry Schonberg. But Nicks has told Ryan Biggs they're both working hard and will get another opportunity.
He's part of our future. Chase Jones, similar, has gone back and performed well. So don't always look at the negative. Let's also look at the player that's come in and hopefully we're seeing some good performances from them.
Meantime, there are reports Sydney is preparing to offer superstar Lance Franklin a new contract before the end of the season. To rugby union now, and Wallabies coach Dave Rennie is urging Rugby Australia not to abandon New Zealand-dominated Super Rugby Pacific. RA Chairman Hamish McLennan has flagged the idea of Australia's 5 teams playing in a domestic competition from 2024. Rennie says that could affect the Wallabies' preparation.
I think the competition's been excellent this year, and our sides have certainly been more competitive. Yeah, but I think it's good for them, it's good for us, so I'd like to see that continue.
And just a week out from Wimbledon, Alex de Minaur and John Millman have won through to the round of 16 at the Eastbourne International in England. De Minaur has downed Chile's Christian Garin in straight sets, while Millman got the better of American Sebastian Korda also in straight sets. Ola Tomljanovic also had a first-up win on the women's side and will now take on 8th seed Jelena Ostapenko. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Around Crayford's fog on the freeway near Mount Barker Road, down to 80 above the tunnels. Netley, Burstwater Main, Marion Road near Watson Avenue. Plimpton, Burstwater Main Cross Road near Anzac Highway, it's down to 40 k's as well. And Wollonga, look out for a smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill, take care through there. Busy at the moment, South Road through Edwardstown with cameras Hanson Road, Elizabeth Downs, and Mallala Road at Two Wells. Bob JT Marts look after you. Buy 3, get 1 free, plus instant cash back on top tyre brands. Call or order online today. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now 5AA weather.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now.
16 today with showers increasing. A shower or two tomorrow, 17. Thursday sunny and 18. Back to 16 on Friday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
6 after 7. Good morning to you if you're joining us for the first time on this Tuesday, the 21st of June. Make the most of the sun. It rises officially in about 18 minutes' time to 7:24. The sun sets at 5:12 today, so there's not a whole lot of light. It is the solstice day, of course.
Guess where I'm going at 5:12.
Where are you going?
5 p.m. Government House. Very excited about this.
You're getting conferred with an honour?
Yes, well, you and I have been conferred with an honour. Well, the 5AA Breakfast Show is being conferred with an honour. This is extraordinary. For the Undy Drive, all of the work we've done raising money for Catherine House, we've won some sort of community service gong. I'm going down there on our behalf to pick it up.
Good man.
Going to suit up.
Meet the governor?
Yeah. Very excited about that.
It's been a tough one with COVID, the old Undy Drive, but
certainly has been.
It's something we love doing.
Yep,
and something that 5AA, our listeners at breakfast and throughout the day on 5AA support magnificently well. So we thank you for it. An award for all, I think. An award for everyone. Sally's called in. 2-car smash on Grand Junction Road in between Prospect Road and Churchill Roads. City bound with both cars blocking the left-hand lane. So keep an eye out for that this morning as well. Let's get to some of the news of the day. We'll start with one, David, that I know you want to talk about more. And it comes from our former colleague here at 5AA, Hannah Ford, on Channel 7 last night. South Australian schools have had to employ security, sometimes on a permanent basis, often it's a semi-permanent basis, but sometimes on a permanent basis, to keep problem students under control. Sometimes they're not even students from the school, as you'll hear in just a moment. There are 11 different schools across the state now employing security guards, private security guards, and that comes on the back of a pretty remarkable stat, 10 incidents involving weapons per week in schools. Here is some of the kids from Playford International College who Hannah interviewed last night.
I feel much safer. It's been about like a month now, and they usually here from like around 9 to 3:15 p.m. So like to the start of the day to the end of the day. So when school starts and when school finishes, and they're there just to break fights.
Some of the incidents they talk about are sophisticated. It's probably too high a praise, but people getting the school uniform of other schools, wearing them and coming into the schools, hiding out in toilets to start fights. Like, it's not...
Seriously?
Yeah, it's more organised. Maybe that's a better way of describing it. It's more organised than what you might think.
See, I reckon there's a more general malaise across society. Like, if you look at page 7 of the Tiser, hospital patient violence on rise, emergency departments across Adelaide were at capacity on Monday following a surge in ambulance call-out, blah, blah, blah. talking about the stress, the pressures that are on the system, but then also behaviourally, things are shockingly bad in terms of the number of incidents. 4,308 incidents in 2021. That's compared to 2,926 in 2017. Now, whenever the police do their special stings as well on school drop-offs and pickups, they find that a staggeringly high number of parents test positive for meth. I wonder whether one thing that has changed a lot, and if there's kids behaving in a violent way at school, if you've got, in some cases, dozens of parents testing positive for meth at school drop-off, what type of family environments are these kids living in? Because you learn how to become a racist. You learn how to perpetrate domestic violence against women because you see it. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone sees it. There's plenty of people, the best example locally being Armand, who's seen it at its absolute worst and is a crusader against it. But for a lot of people, be they child abusers, drug addicts, people who bash women, people who hate black people and Asians, you've got to be taught that. And I wonder whether the stem cause of these problems are dysfunctional family environments. Because if you've been brought up in a loving household, you're not taking a knife to school. And you're not screaming at a nurse.
And it feels like the trickle-down effect that we talk about with Sean so often on a Wednesday morning, that if a strong enough message is not being sent by the courts, these kind of behaviours are unacceptable, or they've been taken out of circulation, these people, of course it goes on. It trickles on down into the family unit and so forth.
Absolutely.
Here's the Education Minister, Blair Boyer.
Static security guards are put on those schools until things calm down. Obviously, as the Minister, I'd like to see no security guards in the schools because that's not an ideal situation.
Adam Bant's public enemy number one on 5AA Breakfast this morning. There's no point sugarcoating this. The Greens leader has come in for some treatment on the Automasters text line and from us for the stunt yesterday whereby, rather dramatically, had a staffer remove the Australian flag from behind the lectern where he was about to do a press conference yesterday. Had the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander flags still remain behind him. Here is the Greens leader.
It's time to understand that the history of this country and the symbols that represent the history of this country are very hurtful to the First Nations people of this country.
Not all of them. Warren Mundine came out and made the point the whole thing was offensive. Others too. The Australian's written a piece this morning about a lot of people and some research that says, you know what Indigenous Australians want to be identified as? Australians.
Well, Mundine made a good point that there's been plenty of Indigenous soldiers over the years who fought under that flag.
Yeah.
I like this text from Ronan from Brahma Lodge. He says, Bant's been doing this for ages. It's not actually new. Also, the LNP doesn't display the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags, which are part of our Australian heritage. I don't agree with either position. Albo started displaying all three, and I've got no issue with that. I actually think it's good, but this is where Bant has alienated people so much by saying, no, we're not just going to argue for flying the Indigenous flags. We're going to tear down the Australian one. It's just a mindless and sort of point-scoring way of thinking, isn't it? That's so counterproductive.
You know, the text from someone on the Automasters text line, Bobby asked, what the hell is Ben Stiller doing in Ukraine? Here he is.
Hey, I'm Ben Stiller, and I'm here in Ukraine. I'm meeting people who've been impacted by the war and hearing how it's changed their lives. War and violence are devastating people all over the world. Nobody chooses to flee their home. Seeking safety is a right, and it needs to be upheld for every person.
World Refugee Day yesterday was the reason he was in Ukraine, talking to refugees, helping to raise money for their safe passage to whatever there is the new place that they get to call home, or within Ukraine from a war-torn part of it in the east.
I don't think that's that bad. I mean, I know we have a knee-jerk position where any celebrity pops up somewhere and it's like, like Sean Penn's rowboat during Hurricane Katrina, paddling around in circles, but I don't think there was a look-at-me quality to that by Stiller. And you need people to promote things. I mean, if you wanted to be completely negative and cynical about it, you'd say, oh, what about those two half-wits on 5AA doing stuff for Catherine House? I was like, well, okay. Organisations rely on people with a voice to get publicity. It's just the way things work. And it's different from, Madonna walking around Mali trying to find a new child to take home.
And these things, you've just got to apply the sniff test. Because a lot of these, I mean,
Ben Stiller's a good bloke.
How does Ben Stiller make a difference? Like, what can he actually do in the world? He's got lots of money, yep. And the moment he says anything, it becomes a news story in Adelaide, halfway around the world. So, yeah, there's a time and a place. And if it's raising money specifically for a cause, it's hard to knock him.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move along. We won't be moving along much in the UK at the moment. There's the biggest rail strike in 30 years that's going to go ahead this week, according to the RMT union. Here is union boss Mick Lynch.
We have kept up cordial relationships with the employers all the way through this, but what we have come to understand is that the dead hand of this Tory government is all over this dispute, and the fingerprints of Grant Shapps and the DNA of Rishi Sunak are all over the problems on the railway and indeed the problems in this society. And until they allow these employers to negotiate freely, I can't see that we're going to get a settlement.
Really just wanted to play that grab, to be honest.
I tell you what, older listeners will remember there's a great movie that came out in the 60s called I'm All Right, Jack, in which Peter Sellers played an English trade union boss who spoke in this sort of constant string of malapropisms where he'd say, we certainly don't want to jeopardise the situation, but it's fair to say that there is some potentiality for disputation. And it was such a great parody on the British class system. That guy was straight out of Central Casting, wasn't he?
Certainly was. 3-day walkout Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday that will cause disruption for people, including those attending the Glastonbury Festival, which is, I think, attracts a couple of 100,000 people. So it's a big story in the UK this morning. All right, let's check traffic. We'll be back with a big local story in a moment. In fact, a pretty unsettling local story where a terrific local charity's been attacked by vandals, not once but twice, and they've made life very difficult for them. Here's traffic.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. At Croydon smash on the north-south motorway near Port Road. Bedford Park, got a breakdown there at the moment. It's on the Southern Expressway near South Road. Few burst water mains to look out for. One at Netley, Marion Road near Watson Avenue, and another one at Plimpton, Cross Road near Anzac Highway down to 40 k's. At Wollonga, smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill. Take care through there. And got a camera at Fletcher Road at Elizabeth East. It's the end of financial year sale at Amart. Save up to 50% on a range of spacious lounges, stylish sofas, quality dining, bedroom and more. Hurry in, stores open till late tonight. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
President of the Police Association of SA, Mark Carroll. Tell me a little more about this pressure and who's missing out.
You know that there's a district policing model that Commissioner Grant Stevens is wedded to. We say it's failing. It's failing frontline officers, investigators, and it's failing the community of South Australia.
9 till 12 weekdays.
How many officers are you deficient, would you reckon?
At the moment, we'd have over 300 officers that should be on board and on board.
300?
Yes.
I'm surprised.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
1 in 4 Australian women experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Staying is dangerous, but leaving can mean homelessness for them and their children. With your generosity, the Salvos can provide crisis services and ongoing support, helping women find a way out of violence and a way back into a safe and stable life. Please donate to the Red Shield Appeal at salvationarmy.org.au to help the Salvos leave no one in need.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Now, if you're building a new home or renovating, don't forget to include blinds and curtains in your build plans. Talk to Rundle Blinds and Curtains at Kings Park. They can save you time and money and give you so many installation options for your window furnishings.
Smart home technologies have exploded for window furnishings. For seamless motorisation and automation, plan for your hardwiring so you can make the most out of the latest innovations. Rundle Blinds and Curtains can recess your blinds and curtains into the ceiling to hide all your ugly componentry like headers, trackers and wiring, and the result is incredibly modern and sleek.
It's an absolutely beautiful showroom too. If you haven't been in there, you should check it out. Rundle Blinds and Curtains, they're Adelaide's premier window furnishings company. Bring your dream home designs to life by booking in a consultation with their expert team.
Contact them on 8274 1210 or their website rundleblinds.com.au.
Mini Jumbuck, Australia's favourite wool bedding products.
Now located in McLaren Vale, Mini Jumbuck has a great range of quality Australian-made wool bedding products to suit all sleepers and all climates. You'll love their extensive range of Australian-made quilts, mattress toppers and pillows too. And remember, Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale also stock a huge range of genuine sheepskin Ugg boots and quality merino wool clothing. For Australia's favourite wool products, call into Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, open 7 days.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers for very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company, offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
20 after 7, might have a belated Hero of the Week award. Mark Ryan sent us a tweet this morning in amongst the conversation about the shortest day of the year, or the least amount of daylight of the year that today having, and he said the best way to celebrate the shortest day of the year, going for a swim at 6 o'clock in the morning with a picture that shows proof pitch black in the ocean. It looks like, you know, some sort of horrifying scene from a Jaws film.
Dude.
But Mark, well played to you, sir. I don't know what the water temperature would have been out there this morning, but I'm sure it would have been cold.
What, 5, 6?
They say it's good for you though, don't they?
Well, I don't know. Is it good for you, or is it just good for you when you stop doing it and you think, thank God that's over?
Yeah, maybe. Greg Patterson's the CEO of Food Bank here in South Australia, who we'd like to be talking about just about their core business and the wonderful work they do. Instead, it's about a series of break-ins that they've had to deal with over the course of the last month. $50,000 worth of stuff that's been stolen from them. Greg, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You use the term, Greg, soft target in the paper. I can't think of a softer target than you guys. You do hugely important work in the community. You sort of hope that people don't know exactly what it is you do in this context, because if they did, they'd have trouble lying straight in their beds at night.
Well, I think we're very disappointed with it. Unfortunately, I think it is very sad that people are now are that desperate to rely on stealing from a charity to make ends meet. And unfortunately, I know that the cost of living and things like that is making it pretty hard for people. And I think I fear that this may be a sign of more serious times ahead of us.
But you actually think people are targeting you because they are so poor that they know that you'll have food and they're coming in to get it?
Oh, well, if they come and see us, we'll give them food anyway. But
well,
I think
that's right.
The fact that, so they don't need to actually hide and do it. But I think what they've stolen in this case was quite high-end perfumes and cosmetics and things that we've been donated, and we've been distributing those out through our food hubs so that women who are doing it tough, you know, can afford to get a treat and get some makeup that perhaps and perfume that perhaps they wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. And you know, for some of those women, you know, if they've got some makeup to go to a job interview, that could be the make or break for them. You know, and it's those you know, the Mother's Day gifts that kids could give to their mums. So these very generous donations of these perfumes were, you know, we'd used it for that very reason. We also used it for our own fundraising events and things. So one way, whichever way you look at it, either women who are doing it tough are going to miss out on some of these things, or it means that we can't raise enough money to buy the food that we need to supply people right across the state with purchased food that we buy.
Greg, you say you've seen some of these things pop up on Facebook Marketplace as well.
Yeah, when we were breaking into about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the products are pretty distinctive because they're deleted lines, so they're not available in department stores or things or through wholesalers now. So, and they're fairly distinctive. So we've actually seen them on Facebook Marketplace. One of them was within 24 hours of the last break-in. So we've actually taken screenshots and given them to the police and said, look, and hope that they would follow up on that.
Well, if they've been silly enough to leave their details on Facebook Marketplace, hopefully they get sprung.
Yeah, I think my ugly mug would probably they'd recognise me, but I think, you know, we might send one of our volunteers down to to buy them and see what they say.
Yeah, good idea. We mentioned Catherine House at the start of the show, Greg. The makeup and perfume that you were talking about, that was actually that was intended to go to the women who was looked after by Catherine House, wasn't it?
Oh, that's an example of the charities that we support. We've got 600 charities in South Australia that either refer their clients to Food Bank or that we supply food to. So it's one. Catherine House is one of hundreds that we support, and right up to Tennant Creek, in fact, and across to Ceduna and the APY land. So, and we've got a lot of the product goes through our food hubs, which are our own shops that we run right across. We've got 4 in Adelaide and 7 in regional areas, and those food hubs, people who are doing it tough can come and shop for themselves, and we've got these products in those food hubs. So it just means that there's a lot more dignity to being able to shop for themselves rather than getting a handout of food.
What can you do, Greg? Beef up security, or is you already sort of outlaying enough?
Yeah, well, the warehouse that we've had this stored in is a temporary leased warehouse that we've had. So we're now going to have to move all the stock out of that warehouse into our other main warehouses. We've had to pay to beef up the security in that site. And it's all a distraction. We'd much rather be focusing our efforts of our staff and volunteers on doing our core business, which is getting food out to where it's needed the most. So this distracts from that. Our volunteers and staff feel quite disappointed and let down that someone would target us like that. It's when all we're really trying to do is do good around the place.
Well, hopefully they find them and then put an end to it, Greg. Thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it. You guys do wonderful work. Food Bank SA CEO Greg Pattinson. 26 after 7. I encourage everyone who is a Crows fan that listens to 5AA Breakfast to go back on the podcast and listen to Rowi's interview with head coach Matthew Nix last night. It was absolutely superb. It was the best you'll hear anywhere. And if you have any care about the future of the club, you want to listen to it. You want to be across what the coach thinks about where things are at right now, because Rowie really did a wonderful job on that interview. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Here is a little bit of Matthew Nix with Rowie last night.
I think every rebuild has ups and downs. I mean, they're tough. No matter the rebuild, you're going to find yourself where you have some times where you're feeling really good about the direction you're going and the development of your group, and we've had those. Even as recent as 4 or 5 weeks ago, we play Richmond, we play the Western Bulldogs away in Ballarat. We're really on track with our rebuild. Now, I still feel like we're on track, very much so. But at the moment, we're in one of the downs. We've lost confidence. I thought on the weekend we felt some scoreboard pressure early in that second quarter, and we went away from what we were doing in the first quarter. So it's a big work on for us when we feel that pressure for us not to go away from what it is we do well.
Now, you can quibble about some of the points that were made, or indeed the philosophy of the head coach, but what you can't be critical of, and this is an area you have been able to be critical of in the past of the Adelaide Football Club, is following a disastrous loss like that. He fronted up on Monday afternoon and spoke to every member in South Australia. Yep. And I think that deserves a significant degree of credit.
Do they beat North Melbourne on the weekend?
You might have to do another round of Monday interviews if they don't.
It's a danger game.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely.
They'll be licking their lips at Arden Street. Be the first... Are the figures out yet? They might even be favourite.
No, they're not. The Crows are 3 or 4 goals favourites.
Oh, okay.
I look, being serious about it, I actually don't care about the result of the weekend. I care about what it says about...
Have you reached that point, Will?
No.
I don't care about anything anymore.
I don't care because I've given up. I don't care because the only thing that matters is development at the club at the moment. And if they win by 5 goals, but it's on the back of Taylor Walker dominating, that does nothing for me.
And the Asian midfield handballing their way to a plucky 14-point win.
Exactly. I don't care. But if they lost by 2 goals, but Jake Saligo has 35 touches and kicks 2 because he's played on ball all game, that's a win. That's a win. I just don't think the club sees it that way.
Well,
more with Rowie tonight. Book your service
Talk to your
online
dad.
at North Point Title to win the cost pack. It's the North Point way. Yeah, big thanks to everyone who does tweet me consistently about saying, how do you reconcile your views on the club with the old man? We have family dinners. That's how we do it. 29 minutes after 7.
Under holiday and overworked? Xero's emotional tax return lets you claim for the emotional impacts of running your small business. Enter the competition for a chance to win a share of up to $40,000 in prizes. Visit xero.com. T's and C's apply.
At Connect Hearing, we listen and you do the talking. In fact, 98% of clients surveyed agreed that Connect Hearing really listened and tailored products and services to their personal needs. That's why Connect Hearing is the largest Australian provider of Lyric, the completely invisible fit-and-forget hearing solution that stays in your ear 24/7. That's gold. To see if Lyric is right for you, book a free 30-day trial at connecthearing.com.au. T's and C's apply.
When you're gone, who gets your vintage bottle top collection? The cricket bat you scored your first ton with? Or that precious family heirloom that's been handed down from generation to generation? If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, one thing is certain. You can trust Donlan Lawyers to help protect your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com.
I don't really like talking on radio, but I do like talking about our cows at the FIVEaa Milk Company. And I love helping support SA dairy farmers. They're a great bunch with beautiful families. They work day and night to produce the best milk in SA. So when you're in the supermarket, look for FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. I'm getting good at this.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FIVEaamilkco.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers increasing 16 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A stolen car ploughed into a parked truck at Urbray last night. It happened at the intersection of Fullerton Road and Kitchener Street just after 7:30. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the driver fled the scene.
He's described as being of Caucasian appearance, about 180 centimetres tall, solid build, short hair, and was wearing dark clothing. Anyone who may have witnessed the crash or saw the Peugeot driving erratically in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
The car had been stolen from a car park at Torrens Park earlier in the night while the victim was at work. A 13-year-old girl has been arrested for allegedly crashing a stolen car at Gawler South. The RAV4 was reported stolen around 9 p.m. It was tracked by air before slamming into a fence and catching fire. The teenager did a runner but was picked up a short time later. She's been charged with theft of a motor vehicle, unlawful possession, driving unlicensed and failing to maintain proper control of a vehicle. She was granted bail to front the youth court next month. It's a very busy morning at Adelaide Airport. There are long queues at check-in and for security screenings. In some cases, queues are out the door. It's believed staff numbers have been impacted by COVID and the flu. Domestic travellers are advised to arrive 2 hours before check-in and international 3 hours. Well, close to half of the Qantas ground staff sacked last year still don't have permanent jobs. Around 2,000 baggage handling positions were outsourced by the airline in 2021, which the federal court ruled was illegal. Qantas is seeking leave to appeal that decision in the High Court, but the Transport Workers Union's Nick McIntosh says the case should be dropped and the positions reinstated.
This is ridiculous. It shows this management stream has no care for any of its ex-workers. And really they should abandon this and sit down with their workforce and bring back these people who so desperately want to work there.
Private security guards are being deployed in some SA schools in a bid to curb a rise in violence. Figures reveal the number of schoolyard attacks has surged to a 3-year high. Education Minister Blair Boyer says the guards are a last resort.
Obviously, as the Minister, I'd like to see no security guards in schools because that's not an ideal situation.
A new life for Tom's Court. Last year it was Adelaide's dedicated COVID hotel, but is no longer needed for that. The Malinauskas government is now considering it for emergency winter housing. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide assistant coach Nathan Bassett says the performance of the midfield was a major factor in helping the side upset Sydney on Saturday. Whilst praising the form of Connor Rosie and Ollie Wines, Bassett told Rowie and Timmy G the form of Jackson Mead was also encouraging.
Meady certainly, played with good speed and energy to get from contest to contest. So, as a whole midfield team, I thought they did a really good job to get the ball moving our way and give the guys a good chance to set up the win.
Meantime, Collingwood is thrashing a fresh scandal with two stars filming themselves rating women on social media. Jack Ginnivan and Isaac Quaynor are seen in the TikTok clip laying in bed giving women ratings out of 10. Well, after overcoming a hamstring injury and a bout of COVID, Latrell Mitchell has announced he's targeting a return for the Blues. The Rabbitoh star says he's aiming for State of Origin 3 in Brisbane.
I love Origin, I love the stage. I love the challenge, I suppose. It's a different beast, and I suppose I just love playing for the Blues, and I'm keen. Like I said, the boys get the job done. Game 2, I'm ready.
That audio courtesy of Fox Sports. And in some tennis, ahead of Wimbledon, Nick Kyrgios has climbed 20 spots to world number 45, his best ranking in almost 2 years. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Elizabeth North, traffic lights playing up at Main North Road near Walmer Road. Bedford Park, breakdown on the Southern Expressway near South Road. At Lee Burst Water Main, Marion Road near Watson Avenue, and Plimpton, another Burst Water Main Cross Road near Anzac Highway, down to 40 k's outbound. At Wollonga, smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill. Take care through there and look out for a camera today. Blacktop Road at One Tree Hill. Make a real difference to those impacted by cancer. Make your tax-deductible donation to Cancer Council SA before June 30. Donate at cancersa.org.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now.
Showers increasing today, a top of 16, a shower or two tomorrow, 17, and then sunny and 18 degrees on Thursday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they're offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
Now, if you're the type of person who likes routine, the type that takes comfort in the familiar, you're likely to be the sort of person that appreciates the simple, everyday pleasures of a trip to the Adelaide Central Market.
The Adelaide Central Market is always a good idea.
Is it ever? The Adelaide Central Market that you know and love is open and trading as always. And look, every time you go in, you see familiar faces and you remember just how much you love the place. It's got that safe, happy, friendly feel.
And of course, it's also a great showcase of the best South Australian produce.
It is absolutely unique, and it's so good to know that the Central Market is always there. With over 70 traders under the one roof, there is something for everyone. The Adelaide Central Market, it's a routine you want to stick with. Open Tuesday to Saturday and, of course, late night on Fridays.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 to 8, John Blake coming up before 8 o'clock. Let's head to Canberra first. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review joins us. What do you, Phil?
Yeah, morning, fellas.
So, Phil, the consumer watchdogs putting the screws on the power companies. Do you expect anything's going to come out of that?
No.
Phil Curry from there.
Thanks for joining us.
Look, not really. I mean, the Consumer Watchdog is the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, and it has an annual review of power companies and prices and anti-competitive behaviour and all that. It has a rolling sort of review process. So the problem is, and as the ACCC said yesterday, is it's not sort of crooked behaviour, because what they're doing in terms of gaming the system, the generators, only opting in when the price is really high and doing all that sort of thing, that allows the system set up to allow that to happen. So the behaviour's terrible, but the rules allow it. And I think what really needs to happen is they need to actually change the rules of the national electricity market, to not allow that sort of behaviour to happen. So I noticed the Premier Malinauskas was over here last week, and in South Australia is known as what is known as the lead legislator with the national electricity markets. If there's ever changes to rules, it's got to go through the South Aussie Parliament first, and I know the Premier said, whatever you want, we'll do it. But sort of back to your original question, the ACCC watches the energy sector like a hawk, and it's basically never found anything illegal what it does.
It sounds like
it goes back to what I was whinging about last week about privatisation. If you didn't sell these things in the first place, the governments would be able to just turn them on and off as they needed. They wouldn't be out there trying to price gouge their voters. So again, it's another complication with privatisation.
And Phil, a test for Peter Dutton's leadership with some internal squabbling over his declaration that they'd oppose the Labor's legislation for its emissions reductions target.
Yeah, so look, it's an interesting one. So Labor's going to legislate whenever Parliament ever comes back in July for its election promise, which is to cut emissions by 43% by 2030, and to also legislate net zero emissions by 2050. Now, the coalition is sort of philosophical. I'm not sure why, but it's philosophically opposed to legislating targets because it makes them binding or something like that. But it doesn't sort of have a huge problem per se with Labor's target. It's a bit ambivalent about that, but it's certainly higher than what it thought needed to be done. But Peter Dutton said on the weekend, we're not going to support legislation just like that. Right? It was a bit of a unilateral decision. Now, there's a few moderates, Liberals, who just said, well, hold on, not so fast. Look at what happened on May the 21st. We got our clock cleaned on climate change, and they lost those 6 seats to the Teals. Plus, it was also influential in seats like Boothby and Bennelong and a handful of others which they lost. And there's a few sort of refugees holding on to seats in Melbourne and Sydney, now surrounded by independents and Labor and Greens, who maybe think, well, maybe we should just rethink that position, or at least have a discussion about it at the party room before we go off like this. So look, I suspect there'll be a bit of a ding-dong when the party room meets at the end of July about this, and at the end of the day I suspect a few of those MPs who need to save their seats and send the right message that they've heard, they've listened to voters, will possibly end up crossing the floor, if only only as a statement.
Hey Phil, just quickly, a lot of our listeners, in fact, indeed all of them, are very negative about Adam Bandt's flag stunt yesterday. Just in terms of the Senate composition, what was the final wash-up? How many senators did the Greens get, and what sort of clout do they now wield numerically in the upper house?
Well, so to pass a bill in the upper house, you need 39, right? The government needs 39 votes. It's in the Senate. So they've got 26, Labor, and there's 12 Greens. So that gives them 38. So every time the government, pardon me, Dave, so every time the government opposes Labor, let's say on the climate legislation, the Labor and the Greens get to 38, then they'll need one more. They'll need David Pocock, the former Wallaby, or they'll need one of the Jackie Lambies or one of the One Nations, or the Clive Palmer bloke who just got up in Victoria. So it's always Labor, Greens plus one every time. So that makes the Greens absolutely critical. Labor can't do anything without the Greens now when they're opposed by the coalition, because there's no other way of getting the 39 votes. What I suspect may happen as things settle down a bit, I think you might find Labor and the coalition doing a few things together, because they both face an existential threat now from third parties and Greens and stuff like that. And I think once all the hostility ceases, they'll probably find it in their interest to do a few things together and cut the Greens out. But certainly Anthony Albanese wants nothing to do with them. He doesn't want to empower them in any way. He's already told them, if you don't pass my climate legislation, I'm just not going to legislate it. So, it's going to be an interesting ride.
Certainly is. Great stuff as always, Phil. Phil Curry, the National Political Editor for the Financial Review.
It's coming up to 17 minutes to 8. It's also coming up to the end of June, where there's going to be a big vote that the Adelaide City Council will assess with regard to the funding of facial recognition cameras. They're reviewing the funding on the 28th of June. They'd asked SAPOL to not use the facial recognition capability of these new cameras until the law caught up, because there's no regulations in place that governs that usage at this point in time. It's a case where, in the process of upgrading the cameras, the technology's advanced so much that essentially the law hasn't been able to keep pace with it in South Australia as yet. So we're heading for a bit of an impasse. Well, heading it off at the pass is our next guest, Professor Mark Ondrejevich from the Monash University will, on the 27th of June, the day before, have a public forum to talk about some of the ways in which this technology should be applied, how it should be governed, how it should be employed. Professor Ondrejevich, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Not at all, Professor. So can you just walk us through, there was a big blow up of the coverage that this issue was getting a couple of weeks ago when it emerged that some of the bigger retailers like Bunnings and so forth had it. What's the downside of all of this? What is it that's causing people so much consternation?
I think the downside is the technology is quite a powerful one. There's some concerns about the accuracy of facial recognition technology and the forms of bias that have been characteristic of some systems. And but if you think about the big picture, entering a world in which wherever we go, our image can be captured and potentially linked to our identity represents quite a sea change in our understanding of how we're able to control our information in public space and shared space. We kind of have an assumption of anonymity as we go throughout the course of our day. Maybe somebody who knows us will recognize us, but the idea that everything that we do or wherever we go could be recorded and tracked the way it is online, that's quite a big shift. In order to prepare for that shift, it's good to have some guidelines in place. And I think what we see happening is the technology is being implemented piecemeal in different contexts without really any general set of rules or regulations about how it should be used. And it's probably not the best way to go about implementing what is really can be quite a powerful technology.
Where's best practice, or where's the model, Professor, that you've seen where there is legislation that appropriately governs the use of this technology?
It's in development. So in different jurisdictions around the world, because the technology is quite new, governing bodies are figuring out, how do we want to manage this? But, typically best practice includes ensuring that any identification made by machine is confirmed by human viewers and human assessors. But also best practice means deciding which applications it's appropriate to use this technology for, and also conducting risk assessment impact. So if it's put in place, understanding what the potential risks are, how they're best to be managed, and what that means on restrictions of the use of the technology. In terms of, do we want it used to be able to identify jaywalkers, litter bugs? Maybe potentially, are there concerns about using it, for example, on legal, legitimate public demonstrations that would allow anybody who appears in any of those demonstrations to be identified? What about cases where there's concern that the technology might be biased against people with darker skin tones, as has been discovered with some of these technologies? What type of restrictions should be placed on what type of decisions can be made on using the technology, and who gets disadvantaged by its implementation? And what about its use for commercial purposes? We might be comfortable with having the technology used for law enforcement and security, but how about having it used to target us based on what we've done throughout the course of the day, or on inferences that are made about our emotions or how we happen to be feeling? Do we want marketers to be able to access that information and use it? I think a whole host of questions come up with the implementation of this technology. Obviously, in the Adelaide case, the commercial use is separate, but in the retail cases that you mentioned that Choice publicized, those retailers are using it now, as far as we know, for security. But down the road, there's an interest in using it for marketing, and there are a lot of applications that are already dedicated towards.
I guess the flip side, Professor, and I know that SAPOL have been quite keen on using it, which is one of the reasons why the City Council has taken an interest. All of those sort of law enforcement scenarios you outlined, I think people might scratch their heads and go, well, is that a bit intrusive? But then, conversely, say you had someone who was a habitual car thief, or worse, you had someone who was like a sex offender who'd been trawling the parklands, attacking women jogging or on their way to work. if it could be used in cases like that to identify and then apprehend someone who was demonstrably bad, it could actually be a positive, couldn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any dispute that there are potentially very useful applications of technology that, people would support. People don't want crime. They would like tools to be able to prevent it. And for me, I guess my thought about that is all the more reason why we should be having a public discussion. In other words, rather than just, not talking about how to use it, since there's popular support, and I think there likely would be for some of the uses that you described, why not say these are the uses that we think the technology should be used for, and these are the standards that we think it should live up to. We don't want technology being used that's going to not be accurate or that's going to be biased. There should be some minimum standards and testing in place to make sure that the technology works. But I think what's been of concern is that the technology is, it does sound kind of scary and creepy or Orwellian, or it can, facial recognition everywhere. And I think there's some reluctance on the part of authorities to kind of put that out there because they're worried about a kind of knee-jerk reaction against it. But that seems to me to be not the probably correct way to handle the implementation of the technology. Make the case for its uses that people will support. Get the public support for that, and find out what uses the public would like restricted, and I'm sure police would also like restrictions on some of this use, and come up with pretty clear guidelines of what we think the appropriate way to use this technology is.
Great stuff. Professor Mark Andreevich, thanks very much for joining us this morning on 5AA.
The public forum will take place Monday the 27th of June, so next Monday at 6 p.m. at Adelaide Town Hall. Incidentally, the place a day before the vote will be undertaken by the Adelaide City Council. Time to check traffic. We'll be back with John Blake in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Elizabeth North, traffic lights playing up on Main North Road near Walmer Road. Bedford Park, breakdown on the Southern Expressway near South Road. FIVEaa water main today, one at Plimpton, Cross Road near Anzac Highway, and another one at Pasadena, FIVEaa Drive near Quinlan Avenue. At Wollonga, smash on Victor Harbour Road. That's halfway up Wollonga Hill. Take care through there. And we've got a camera at One Tree Hill Road at One Tree Hill. The Michael Hill sale is now on. Find something special for you or treat a loved one and enjoy great savings. Limited time only. Don't miss out. Hurry into Michael Hill today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Ageism takes away my rights, the right to make my own decisions, be safe, and be treated with dignity and respect. Sometimes people assume I can't do something because of my age. They exclude me and I feel invisible and sad. Ageism can lead to mistreatment, neglect, and other forms of abuse. How do you treat the older people in your life? For more information, search SA Health Tackling Ageism, a message from the Government of South Australia.
Incontinence affects 1 in 10 men in Australia of all ages. That's about 5,300 blokes at the footy when Adelaide Oval is full. This may stop some men from getting out and enjoying life as they can't dispose of their incontinence products. That's why this World Continence Week, Continence Foundation of Australia is advocating for incontinence disposal bins to be installed in male public toilets across Australia. Go to binsforblokes.org.au to pledge your support. Bins for Blokes, an initiative of Continence Foundation of Australia.
Construction of 88 O'Connell has commenced. This is truly one of the most impressive developments in Adelaide for a very long time. 88 O'Connell will encapsulate connected living, community and style with boutiques, retail and culinary experiences on your doorstep. 2 and 3 bedroom apartments are still available from $1.1 million. Visit the new display suite at 53 O'Connell Street, North Adelaide. Proudly developed by Commercial and General, creating South Australian communities for over 25 years.
Nick Chigwidden from Physio Extra talks about how One Solution streamlined their business.
At Physio Extra, we needed to upgrade our IT and communication systems, which is critical to us having a successful business. We spoke to the guys at One Solution and they provided us with a fantastic strategy on how we could bring our phone and our IT under the one roof. The ongoing service and support they've provided us is also excellent. I certainly recommend One Solution for any business.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
Lots of memories in this home. This busted door lock.
Open the door!
I was hiding in the bathroom. And these bits of plastic and glass everywhere. Used to be my phone. thought I was cheating.
Domestic violence is the #1 cause of homelessness for women and children. Don't make them choose between a violent home and the streets. Donate today at vinnies.org.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. 5AA Breakfast, David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 8, John Blake coming up in just a moment. Darren and Gawler's called into the program. Good morning to you, Darren.
G'day, mate. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. What have you got for us?
Matey, I keep hearing every morning, I listen to you guys every morning, and bloody good work. But I hear every morning about stolen cars and stolen this but nobody mentions the effect. Like, you know, we hear about the young colts and that are stealing these cars and rah, rah, rah. But nobody mentions about the victim, the owner of the car or anything like that. Now, to do something like that, it absolutely upends their life, the victim, that is. Now, he's got to, or she has got to get up to go to work, and they don't have a car, and because somebody stole their car. They also, like the insurance, they have to pay their excess.
Yep.
And they're out of pocket, you know, that is if they can afford the insurance nowadays. You know, it might be a one employee family or something like that. I don't know. We hear a lot about these, you know, we feel sorry for the young colts and we, you know, the actual perpetrators, but we don't hear about the victims and how much it changes their life. You know, it's just. It's ridiculous, and then you hear in the courts, you know, so-and-so, they went to court and got off because they had a bad life, and like Will said, Will or Dave said this morning there, you know, we've got a scourge in this society at the moment with methamphetamines and rah, and all the drugs, and we should feel sorry for everybody, but, mate, the only people that nobody feels sorry for is the victim that got their
good point.
Life changed around, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a great call, Darren. In fact, let's give Darren a 5AA breakfast mug. That was an excellent point and one well made.
Well, as Darren was talking, I was just thinking, like, later this afternoon, and this is like the lowest example of crime affecting your lives, but it goes to the cost and the irritation of it. I remember a few weeks ago I mentioned some total jerk keyed the entire left-hand side of my car. So I've probably spent an hour or so dealing with the insurer. I've paid an $800 excess. I've spoken to several different blokes, including the one that one of our listeners helpfully tipped us into, but the damage that's been done to the car is so deep that it actually needs to be taken to a proper crash repairer. All 4 panels need to be replaced, the entire left-hand side of the car. So I've got to go to Edwardstown this afternoon to a crash repair place, get them to have a proper look at it. Then I've got to book it in again. They're so busy that they can't do it until at least November. Now, that is not life-altering tragedy, but it's $800 out of my pocket. It's time out of my day. And for the insurer, it's money that they've got to pay out, which means they put more pressure on premiums. It means that my future premiums have gone up by, I think, $15. My no-claim bonus has gone up as well by $5. And it's just because some cretin with a set of car keys goes, I might just key that car.
Yeah.
Like, if you could get your hands on the bastards, you'd throttle them, wouldn't you?
And it'd probably be more in trouble than they would.
You would? No, you would be.
Yeah.
You'd be in really serious trouble for doing that.
All right, let's...
It's the way society works.
Fun to think about, though. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg. Good morning, early risers. I'm Wallace Fogg with another 5AA News Update. Well, after 3 years, the TV Week Logie Awards have made a return, and the big news is nobody really noticed. The television audience numbers really weren't impacted by the 3-year absence and stayed much the same as they were when the last telecast was on, which means most people didn't miss it. The telecast was beaten on the night in the ratings by Channel 7 and Channel 9's nightly news, which, in anyone's language, is highly embarrassing. A lot of people now suggesting the Logie should have died with Bert Newton. In other news, Premier Peter Malinauskas has almost pulled off a giant coup by wrestling the Formula One Grand Prix away from Melbourne. The only reason he didn't get it back here was because he left it slightly late, but the powers that be said they would have considered it very carefully. The Premier's on a roll after getting the V8 supercars back to Adelaide by the end of the year, and he's so confident he's now working on stealing the Kentucky Derby, the New York Marathon and the French Open. And finally, the World Swimming Authority, FIVEaa, has caused a storm by banning trans athletes from competing in female swimming events. People who've transitioned from female to male will be allowed to compete in men's events, but not the other way round because it's deemed to be unfair. There's been a big backlash from the trans community, but high-profile trans spokesperson Caitlyn Jenner says she fully supports the move, which ironically is getting her a big backlash from the trans community. Some people are now asking where it will all stop, and if it's now okay for straight people to use the Trans-Siberian and Trans-Australian railways. And that's the news for this Tuesday. I'm Wallace Fogg. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Breaking at 8 next.
With tax time approaching, it's time to take advantage of the federal government's instant asset write-off. It's also a great time to speak to Toyota about a new forklift for your business. Check out their huge range of quality Toyota forklifts, pallet jacks, walkie stackers, reach forklifts and more. With legendary reliability and safety, plus cleaner, greener electric options. It's all part of the Toyota forklift advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Terms and conditions apply.
Now, if you're the type of person who likes routine, the type that takes comfort in the familiar, you're likely to be the sort of person who appreciates the simple, everyday pleasures of a trip to the market.
The Adelaide Central Market is always a good idea.
That's right, make it part of your routine. The Adelaide Central Market you know and love is open and trading as always. Now, every time you go in there, you see familiar faces, you remember just how much you love it. It's got that safe, happy, friendly feel.
And of course, it's also a great showcase of the best South Australian produce.
Now, it's so good to know that our market is always there, and with more than 70 traders under the one roof, that there's something for everyone. The Adelaide Central Market, a routine you'll want to stick with. Open Tuesday to Saturday, and of course, late night on Fridays.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers increasing 16 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. A 13-year-old girl has been arrested after going on a joyride around Gawler in a stolen car. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the RAV4 was taken from a Gawler South address just before 9 p.m.
Polly tracked the vehicle around Gawler South before it was seen to crash into a fence on 5th Street where it caught on fire. The driver got out of the vehicle and ran east, and Polly continued to follow the suspect for a short time until patrols caught up with her nearby. So a 13-year-old girl from Gawler South was arrested and charged with theft of a motor vehicle, unlawful possession, driving unlicensed, and failing to maintain proper control.
Police want to speak to the driver of a Peugeot involved in a crash at Urbray. The stolen car went into the back of a parked truck at the intersection of Fullerton Road and Kitchener Street just after 7:30 last night and drove off. The Peugeot was taken from nearby Torrens Park. We're being warned of possible rolling blackouts tonight in the wake of the energy crisis. AEMO is flagging reserves will be low between 6 and 8:30 p.m, but Energy Minister Tom Koutsantonis says he'd be surprised if there was load shedding. Meantime, power company profits during the crisis will be investigated by the consumer watchdog. The ACCC will examine possible collusion between big power companies. Adelaide Airport is experiencing long queues at check-in and security this morning. Staff numbers impacted by COVID and the flu. Domestic travellers are advised to arrive 2 hours before check-in. Well, airport workers who had their jobs axed by Qantas last year are still struggling to find work. A survey of more than 1,000 outsourced baggage handlers found close to half don't have permanent jobs. The Transport Workers Union's Nick McIntosh says in some cases it's had a tragic impact.
A quarter of these workers experienced a relationship breakdown. 1 in 3 developed a mental health condition and 1 in 10 have experienced suicidal thoughts. It's of course tragic to hear these figures, but it's no great surprise when workers with decades of experience and loyalty to a company are suddenly illegally turfed out.
Qantas is appealing a High Court ruling which found its decision to outsource those staff was a breach of Fair Work laws. Australia has pledged $50 million in emergency aid to Sri Lanka to help buy food and provide health services. The country is battling its worst economic crisis in 70 years, with people attempting to flee to Australia by boat. Federal opposition leader Peter Dutton says the new Labor government needs to get a handle on it and fast.
Nothing's changed in terms of the economic circumstances in Sri Lanka from where it was 6 months ago. It's in a dire situation, and that's acknowledged. The previous government, the coalition, we were able to deal with that, and the boats didn't come. But already we've had 4 that we know of.
The European Union foreign policy chief believes Russia is using food as a weapon. EU foreign ministers have been meeting to discuss how to tackle a blockade of food in Ukrainian ports. Joseph Borrell has stressed to the meeting that Western sanctions have not caused the global food crisis.
Russia's blockading Ukrainian exports. Russia, not us. Russia is destroying ports and destroying food stocks, destroying transport infrastructure.
The owners of a missing King Charles Cavalier south of Adelaide have called in a pet detective. Floss vanished from their holiday home in Port Elliot 3 weeks ago, and the Caders believe she was stolen. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
What's happening at Alberton, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, scans have confirmed Port Adelaide midfielder Zach Butters has sprained the medial ligament in his left knee on the weekend. He won't face the Gold Coast on Sunday, but is still hopeful he'll only miss the 1 or 2 weeks. Bryn Teakle, the ruckman, meantime, is recovering after surgery to repair his broken collarbone. It's likely he'll be sidelined for 6 to 8 weeks. Meantime, Jordan De Goey's future at Collingwood long-term remains up in the air. The Pies' most recent offer to re-sign De Goey was reportedly pulled over the weekend following the fallout from the Barley scandal. Former St Kilda captain Nick Riewoldt has told Fox Footy there would be interest from other clubs in him and he'd still support the club going after De Goey's signature.
We're talking about a recidivist now. With these sort of incidents, if you are confident and Jordan provides you with a level of confidence that he is taking serious steps, earnest steps to improve in this area, then I think it's something that you can entertain as a football club. Because let's not forget, we are talking about a serious on-field talent.
Meantime, Richmond veteran Trent Cotchin will have surgery this week after fracturing his collarbone in the win over Carlton. To tennis, John Millman and Alex de Minaur have moved into the round of 16 at the Eastbourne International after recording straight sets wins overnight. The Australian cricket team faces a must-win match against Sri Lanka tonight in the 4th ODI in Kandy. The Aussies currently trail the home side 2-1 in the best-of-5 series. And New South Wales State of Origin coach Brad Fittler admits he was taught a lesson by Queensland in Game 1. The Blues will go into Game 2 with 2 hookers replicating the Maroons' tactic of the series opener. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Elizabeth North, traffic lights playing up on Main North Road near Wommer Road. Bedford Park, breakdown on the Southern Expressway near South Road. Few burst waterways to look out for today. One at Pasadena, 5 Drive near Quindle Avenue, and also one at Plimpton Cross Road near Anzac Highway, speeds down to 40 there. At Wollonga, smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill, take care. And we've got a camera to look out for Fletcher Road at Elizabeth East. Traffic isn't smooth all the time, but if you're about to move home, Storage King can smooth the way with storage, moving and more. Get a plan just for you at storageking.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now.
Heading for a top of 16 today with showers increasing, then a shower or two tomorrow, 17. Thursday, sunny and 18. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
You deserve to enjoy doing what you're passionate about. Gardening, for example, or walking to keep fit. So if your body is stopping you from enjoying the life you want, come and see us at SportsMed. Our Stepney Healthcare Hub includes our own hospital, orthopaedic surgeons, doctors, physios and podiatrists, so we can see to your care from diagnosis to rehabilitation, all in one place. Easy. Get back to doing what you love. sportsmed.com.au.
We lost Dad to prostate cancer.
Breast cancer nearly took Mum away.
My little brother is living with leukemia.
My pa caught his bowel cancer early.
Make your donation as personal as your story. You can target the cancer that's hurt you most with Cancer Council SA. Learn more or donate at cancersa.org.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 8. Now, I've just got a message from Sam in the production booth. He's compiling the data for Fuel Watch this morning. Ooh. And he said, and I can quote him on this, it's not good. It's not good. So,
worst ever?
I don't know about worst ever, but it's...
He's nodding his head. He thinks it might be.
Wow. Okay. So, Fuel Watch this morning, just remember this now, will be us telling you what's cheap. Not just what's average. This will be what's cheap. So that's coming up in just a moment. We've got coming up for you also this hour on the program, Louisa Mignoni, who's an Adelaide actress, went to Flinders University, who is starring in this new program called The 12 on Foxtel with Sam Neill. Big local production. It's getting rave reviews, so we'll talk to her about that after 8:30 as well today. Let's go breaking at 8.
Well, this morning's Breaking at 8 involves a place that is an absolutely venerated Adelaide institution, and rightly so. There's been rumours sweeping the rounds in the food industry over the last few months that La Trattoria, which is an absolute icon here in South Australia, I reckon pound for pound it's probably the best Italian bistro going around. The Scallopini Fiorentina, the veal with spinach and mozzarella, is to die for. All their pizzas are great. In fact, I think a few years ago they won best pizza in the world. One of their crew, I can't remember if it was Andy and Chris or Billy, but they competed in New York and won the world's best pizza in Brooklyn. They've still got the banner up there on Pulteney, on King William Street, outside the restaurant. Well, there's been rumours that it's up for sale. Well, I've spoken to people in the know overnight, and apparently it's not so much up for sale, but it's been sold. But the good news is that the new owners have given an undertaking that there will be absolutely no change. I don't know if Andy and Chris are still going to be involved, but Billy certainly is. But in terms of the terms of the sale, and, you know, this is a family that has been in the food industry in South Australia for generations. In fact, it was their father in the 1960s, I think, who started another Adelaide institution, Marcelina's there, the famous pizza bar in Hindley Street. So the terms of the sale were that if it does go ahead, there will be absolutely zero change. So for those of you, and there's many, who regard La Trat as a great sort of business lunch get-together place, a family get-together place, it's going to be going along as a going concern. I think mainly it's just an age thing, because Chris is 78, Andy's in his 70s as well. So in terms of the hours that it would require, there's nothing more punishing than hospitality. But La Trat will continue on into the future, which is great news.
Absolutely.
How goes La Trat?
Magnificent spot. 12 minutes after 8, Dominic Perrottet, the New South Wales Premier, has gone on radio this morning on 2GB to try and explain why it will cost $25 million to erect a new flagpole at the top of the Sydney Sydney Opera House, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, where the plan is to, and he announced this as part of ahead of the budget, to put an Indigenous Australian flag, an Aboriginal flag, on the Sydney Harbour Bridge permanently. It hasn't existed there to this point in time. Lovely idea. Nice gesture. Some people at the press conference said, why does it cost $25 million to do this?
Really good question.
The questions got even harder when a local firm came out and said, we'd do it for $600,000. $200,000 per pole would be our going rate, which, again, that seems expensive, but compared to $25 million, is a relative steal. Here is the Premier of New South Wales trying to explain this morning.
Was that it would take a couple of years to achieve, and now the cost has come back at $25 million. And from my perspective, as I was saying yesterday, it doesn't seem to pass the pub test when it comes to putting up a flag.
I wonder whether sometimes governments get the wedding cake treatment when it comes to jobs.
Or to put it in the context of things like scratched cars, the first question is this an insurance job?
Yeah, the price is a little
You
bit...
sort of stutter when you answer. You go, well, yes, it is. And then it's like, ching!
Yeah, okay, we'll give you the special state government rate of $25 million for a flag.
100%. The best kind of money is other people's money. Governments would habitually get fleeced, and the thing is, the people making the ultimate decision, they haven't got a dog in the fight either.
No.
They're going to knock off at 5 o'clock. It's not their money. I mean, it's all of ours money.
Because you don't get the sense about this story, this is one out of the box. This is just one that's so egregious that everyone instantly noticed it.
We were talking about this at home last night with Mum and Dad, a traditional Tuesday night dinner, and yeah, we were sort of trying to throw figures around. I thought, well, maybe because I've got those giant pylons, and I thought, I don't know, do they need to lower it in with a helicopter or something like that? But no, $600,000 a bloke can do it for. Can the government get out of the contract?
They're going to have to, aren't they? Even if the exit fee was $1 million, you'd still get out $23 million ahead.
Yeah, a bit like buying French subs.
Exactly right. Mark Butler was on Sunrise this morning, the new health minister, talking about the Omicron variant, whether some of the assumptions we had in the early days about it were incorrect.
Already the case numbers earlier this year were extraordinary, but this new report suggesting, as you say, that literally millions of Australians caught COVID in the early part of the year is just quite staggering. We've known for some time with this virus that there are people who will catch it but have no symptoms, so obviously they don't go and get tested, they don't show up in the official data. And as we've got very high levels of vaccination, and also you've got this new variant, Omicron, which is a little less severe than the earlier variants like Delta, those numbers have obviously blown out. They're really quite extraordinary.
It hasn't fallen away, the numbers, like some of the projections had us achieving earlier in the year, where it was going to be a couple of hundred cases a day by winter.
No.
We haven't quite gotten there.
But then again, how many, do you know anyone who's got really, really sick?
No.
I know one person out of the... Oh, I can't even think how many people I know. It was almost like...
Everyone.
Yeah, pretty much everyone.
You know, essentially.
It seems more novel to have not had it than to have had it. Like, it's more of a curiosity when you say, I
Like
haven't had it. Yeah, people go, oh, really?
Yeah, okay.
Your whole house had it, yeah.
What are you doing? All right, it's time to swallow hard. If you've got a half-empty or fully empty tank of petrol, Fuel Watch, thanks to the My RAA app, which you can download instantly, and you can see the pure horror for yourself. You get it from the App Store today. So here's where we're at. This is cheap, by the way. Okay? Let me reiterate. This is as cheap as we've been able to find it. The Ampol Payneham Road, Felixstowe, $2.22.9.
That's cheap.
The United South Road, Melrose Park, $2.21.9.
That's the Richie Benno price, $222.
The cheapest by far and away. So much so, you wonder what's going on there. $2.10.9, Southern Cross Service Station, Grange Road at Fulham. The BP Victoria Road, Largs Bay, the diesel hasn't removed too much, thankfully. That's $2.11.9 at the moment. $2.11.9, but $2.22. So again, 21.5 cent excise that's currently off that price. The actual price we'd be paying would be $2.44-ish.
And when's the excise come back on? In September, doesn't it?
Yeah, September, October.
It's going to be hard to manage for the Albanese government.
Add that to your weekly bill.
John on the Automasters text line says, morning fellas, you give us Fuel Watch. What about giving us an iceberg lettuce watch?
It's a good idea. We need the
I haven't actually seen it for $12 anywhere.
No, $7 I bought one the other day.
Yeah. Yep, $7 seems to be about the go.
So I don't know why. We've got different suppliers or something here in South Australia.
Well, we would have. We'd have like Adelaide Hills lettuces. as opposed to all the ones in Sydney and that come from up the road where everything was flooded.
Automasters text line 044808 1395. Thank you for that, John. Technology is making all manner of things easier these days, including the sickie. The Advertiser reporting this morning that there is a new phone app designed by a couple of pharmacists that will allow Australians to get a medical certificate without having to leave your bed. So you don't have to go to the GP anymore. What happens is patients get asked a few questions which allow the team of pharmacists to determine whether they're too sick for work or to go for study.
Oh, that's going to be a very popular little app, isn't it?
The Sickie app creator says whether it's a killer migraine or this season's flu, Sickie makes sense compared to seeing a health professional face to face. I actually think there's some merit behind the idea. I know instantly you think it'll be used for the purposes of people getting out of work, and doubtless
Yes.
it will. But the other thing it means is if you've got a cold or you're feeling a bit off, the process of having to go and clog up a GP, and we know people are struggling enough at the moment to go to their local GP, it will alleviate some of the pressure on having to book in, go sit in the waiting room, and free up some space for someone else. But it is a great Australian tradition, the Sickie, like it or loathe it. We're asking you this morning at 8223 0000, what's the best Sickie excuse? What's the best one you've ever used? When has it gone wrong? Tell us your Sickie stories. 8223 0000. We've got tickets to see the Elvis film that's coming up, the Baz Luhrmann picture that's going to be absolutely spectacular at Wallace Cinemas Mitcham. The biopic of the King of Rock and Roll starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. It's opening this week, the 23rd of June. You can get tickets at wallace.com.au. Call in and tell us your best Sickie story. Either your rolled gold Sickie strategy or when it's gone awry?
It's one of the few downsides of this job. Well, there's a few downsides. Getting up so early is a downside, but you can't take a Sickie in this job. You can't, unless you hated your co-host, which we clearly don't. Like, you just couldn't do it. With the ultimate dog act.
It makes the life really difficult for everyone if you do.
Oh, does it ever? When the very rare occasion you haven't been in, and I've got the call in the middle of the night, and I just can't go back to sleep. Oh no, I've got to do all the. Welcome back. It's 7:03. I've got to try to sound like I work in radio for a change.
8223 0000. If you want the Elvis tickets, talk Sickie with us. You can text as well on the Audio Masters text line 044808 1395. Let's check traffic.
Thanks, Will. At Elizabeth North, traffic lights playing up on Main North Road near Womma Road. At Wollonga, residual delays from an earlier smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill. Take care through there. Burst water main at Netley, Marion Road near Watson Avenue, and another one at Plimpton Cross Road near Anzac Highway. Speeds down to 40 k's. Cameras, Adelaide Road, Gawler South, and Craigmore Road at Craigmore. Looking for tax time savings on a ute? You can't go past the huge run-out savings on the award-winning Ford Ranger at Wayne Phillips Ford, Christie's Beach. LVD 208. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Well, it was another frustrating loss for the Crows. To explain, senior coach Matty Nix, we're over 50 games into this rebuild, your rebuild. Put bluntly, it's either stalled or gone backwards. Are you as frustrated as the rest of us?
4 p.m. weekdays.
Our group's lost a bit of confidence at the moment, but just that little bit of trust to play on instinct and take the game and, play the way we know we can play. And we've got to find our way to get out of that at the moment.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
My first contact with NRG Solar was through Michael. He had a look around the house, had a look around the roof. We have particular problems with trees, so he assessed the situation, made some calculations, discussed the options with me. What I liked most about the visit was that Michael was prepared to explain things in simple language to us and look at the options and just basically being professional.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Community TV is a whole new way to enjoy local sport. Stream your favourite community sports straight to your screen or device wherever you are. Find out more at communitytv.com.au. That's community with a K.
G'day South Australia, Cheats here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
Go big in the Nissan Patrol. It's got a huge 5.6-litre V8, a 3.5-tonne brake towing capacity, and effortless off-road performance. Pre-order your Patrol at your Nissan dealer today. T's and C's apply.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast, David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes after 8. Talking sickies this morning. There's a new app out that'll mean you don't have to go to the GP now to get the sick note any longer. Want to hear rolled gold strategies or horror stories of the sickie? 8223 as it becomes entirely digitised through the App Store. Sue in Mylor, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Quite a few years ago, my then partner, he got the day off because our pet pig died.
Is that really? Is that
Yeah.
what he told work, that the pet?
Yeah.
And what was the reaction from work? Did they just sort of say, "Okay, fair enough"?
Yeah, we had a good boss, and he said, "Oh, that's terrible."
Was he close to the pig, Sue?
We were very close to the pig. She was lovely, and
They're smart animals, pigs, aren't they?
oh, she was beautiful, and it was a very tragic loss. And so he rang up and he said, "Oh, we can't do it today." And he said, "Not a problem." And so we stayed home and mourned Yum Yum.
I was going to say, did the pig have a name? Clearly it did. It was called Yum Yum.
Yum Yum, yeah. From the Mikado, not from grilled and fried. But, yeah, so there are nice bosses out there.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, Sue.
That is very generous.
It is very generous. Ken in Beverley, good morning.
Good morning, how are you going?
Good, thanks,
How are you,
Ken.
boys? I had a cousin, he rang up his boss and said, can't come into work today. Boss said, why is that? He said, they stole my caravan and found it in Melbourne. He said, well, why can't you come in? He said, I was in the back of the
caravan. Seriously?
Yes, serious.
Wow.
I don't know if you got a one of it, but yeah, that was his story.
What a great yarn. Did the boss buy it?
I think he did, because he used to tell him a few stories like that. So he's a funny guy.
Oh, that's terrific.
I tell you what, let's give Ken and Sue tickets to see the new Elvis biopic, simply called Elvis by Baz Luhrmann. You can check it out at Wallace Cinemas Mitcham. Book your tickets now, wallace.com.au. Stars Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. Both Ken and Sue are off to see it, hopefully not requiring a sickie to get along.
You ever taken a sickie? Like a proper sickie, like a total nonsense sickie? I've done it a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, no, I think I did in
a former life.
In a sort of, casual work environment.
Yeah, yeah.
There might have been social events that took precedence.
Yeah. Sometimes there were sickies where you actually were sick, although it was entirely self-inflicted. You just literally couldn't actually move.
I think that's technically a sickie, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You're sick.
Because you've had, 14 standard drinks or
Exactly
something.
right.
Yeah,
Automaster's text line, 0448081395. Getting some text coming through.
What about this? Head up to Murray Bridge, folks. Petrol at the United in Murray Bridge is a cheap and cheerful $1.97. What about that? Fred talking about infrastructure prices. They built a jetty in Whyalla for just under $8 million. $45 million for a footbridge across the Torrens at Adelaide Oval. $25 million for a flagpole in Sydney. Doesn't make sense. If you put it in that context, it's interesting. Some here about this certificate app, sick certificate app. My workplace does not accept the pay for certificates. They must be from a doctor. I reckon quite a few workplaces would probably be like that and say, no. You're not trying that one on.
Go to the GP. All right, it's 27 minutes after 8. 5AA News is coming up, and we'll be back with more shortly.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles.
With travel restrictions lifted, our national tiles buying team is back in Italy and Spain on a mission to buy the best, the very best. Yes, the absolute very best quality tiles from the very best European manufacturers exclusively for National Tiles. So for the absolute best European quality national tiles for your home at Australia's very best everyday lowest prices, you must go to nationaltiles.com.au now.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics. But what do you get? Try next-day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda. Just a short drive from the city.
Ken Hall Plumbers began nearly 40 years ago with one goal, to be known in SA for friendly and quality service. Since then, Ken Hall's success has prompted a greater range of trade services, including electricians, roofers, tilers, general builders for home maintenance and full bathroom renovations.
That's right, these guys can do everything. But look, Ken has an important message to his team. The job that you're on today is the most important job. Any Ken Hall team member that comes to your home is a hand-picked employee of Ken Hall Plumbers.
And the Hall family are very much involved day to day, continuing the legacy of reliable, unbeatable service.
So if you haven't experienced the Ken Hall Service and Trades team, why not try them for your next problem that comes up at home or at work? Just give Ken a call, 24/7.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Once upon a time, laptops were assumed to have less features than their desktop counterparts. Now it's laptops like the HP Pavilion series that are stealing all the thunder. The new HP Pavilion X360 lets you create, share and connect in more ways. Streaming, chatting and getting things done is way more fun when you find your perfect position. You can flex, bend and flip from anywhere with a 360-degree hinge and long-lasting battery life. Multitasking feels easy and fast with a high-performance 11th generation Intel Core i3 processor. You also might assume that a laptop with all these features carries a big price tag. Wrong. At Harvey Norman, the HP Pavilion X360 is only $798, plus you'll score a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers increasing 16 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A 13-year-old girl has been arrested after crashing a stolen car at Gawler South. Kendall Brettig reports.
Just before 9 p.m, police were called to a Gawler South address after the owner reported her Toyota RAV4 had been stolen. Police spotted it driving around the township before it crashed into a fence on 5th Street and caught on fire. The driver fled on foot but was caught nearby. The 13-year-old girl from Gawler South was arrested and charged with theft of a motor vehicle, unlawful possession, driving unlicensed and failing to maintain proper control. She'll face the youth court next month. And police are investigating a crash at Urbray last night. A stolen Peugeot station wagon ran into the back of a parked truck at the intersection of Fullerton Road and Kitchener Street. The driver ran off. The car had been stolen from a car park at Torrens Park earlier in the night.
The energy crisis isn't over yet. We're being warned of possible load shedding tonight between 6 and 8:30 p.m. But Energy Minister Tom Koutsantonis isn't expecting a problem. Meantime, profits made during the crisis by the power companies will be investigated by the consumer watchdog. Human trials of combination vaccines targeting COVID and the flu are expected to start later this year. Pharmaceutical giant Moderna is also working on a triple vaccine which targets another respiratory illness, RSV. Chief Medical Officer Dr Paul Burton says it could be a game changer.
We have a 3-in-1 which is COVID, flu and something called RSV. These are all respiratory pathogens that kill people, young and old, every year.
COVID rules to enter New Zealand have officially eased. You no longer need a pre-flight test before travelling across the Tasman, but you will have to take 2 rapid swabs once you arrive. It's hoped the change of rules will bring more visitors ahead of the July school holidays. Ukrainian officials say decisive battles are taking place in the country's east. Carrie-Anne Greenbank has the latest.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says he's expecting Russia to step up its attacks this week as European leaders weigh up whether to allow Ukraine to join the EU, something Russia has repeatedly warned would spark retaliation. Ukraine's Deputy Defence Minister says Russian troops are being ordered to reach the border of the Luhansk region in the east of the country by the end of the week.
Prince William turns 40 today. The father of three is the most popular royal behind the Queen, a recent poll giving him a 66% approval rating. The Duke of Cambridge is second in line to the throne after his father. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide will have to make at least 2 changes for this Sunday's crucial clash against Gold Coast. The Power will be without Zach Butters, who hurt his knee, while ruckman Bryn Tika will likely miss the rest of the season with a shoulder injury. Number 1 ruckman Scott Lycett will front the media a little bit later this morning to give an update on his recovery from an injury. Hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. Well, let's go to basketball now, and Steph Curry is celebrating the Warriors' 4th NBA title in 8 seasons with the crowd.
You gotta remind yourself. You gotta remind yourself. We got 4.
The NBA champions Golden State have held a street parade in San Francisco with tens of thousands turning out to see that. Well, World Soccer's governing body FIFA and World Athletics are reviewing their transgender eligibility policies after swimming past new rules that restrict transgender participation in women's events. And the Special Ks, Nick Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis, have committed to playing doubles together at Wimbledon. The pair, of course, won the doubles Grand Slam at the Australian Open. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Elizabeth North, traffic lights playing up on Main North Road near Wommer Road. Bedford Park, breakdown on the Southern Expressway near South Road. Netley burst water main, Marion Road near Watson Avenue, and Plimpton burst water main there, Cross Road near Anzac Highway. It's down to 40 k's. Wollonga smash on Victor Harbour Road, halfway up Wollonga Hill. Take care through there and look out for a camera today. Main North Road at Smithfield. Until June 30, all South Australians can get a free flu vaccine. Speak to your GP or pharmacy or visit sahealth.sa.gov.au/flu. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
Hitachi Air Conditioners. Be comfortable all year round. Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now.
Showers increasing in 16 for your Tuesday, a shower or two tomorrow 17, Thursday sunny and 18, then Friday showers and back down to 16 degrees. Right now it's 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
$25 to 9 behind closed doors coming up in just a moment. We've got to put a question to you, the 5AA Breakfast family, as well shortly, because there's a controversy that was started by Mr. David Penberthy at about 6:50 today about the opening music of a regular segment. We're going to put to you a vote and get this resolved one way or another very, very shortly. And also, we're going to be speaking with Louisa Mignoni, who stars in this fantastic-looking new production on Foxtel that starts tonight, The 12. It's on tonight at 8 o'clock on Foxtel and Foxtel Showcase.
Just got the traditional annual text message from John Blake wishing everybody happy first day of winter. Blakey still adhering to the old Druids calendar or whatever it is out there planting...
literally the thing that determines why we have seasons, solstices.
Yeah. So are you with him?
The earth? Absolutely.
So you would say today's the first day of winter?
Yep.
What about Judy in Noongar Downs? This is a bit of a breaking at 8:37. Judy's discovered that we get 2 shortest days of the year this year. She's checked the Willy Weather app. Sunrise today, 7:23am. Sunset, 5:11pm. First light, 6:55am. Last light, 5:39pm. Tomorrow, sunrise, 7:23am. Sunset, 5:11pm. First light, 6:55. Last light, 5:39. We get 2.
Wow. How lucky are we?
2 for the price of 1.
2 days with a minimal amount of sunlight.
Does that mean your dad's going to have a 48-hour birthday?
I'll tell you what it does mean. It means he can't whinge. Happy birthday again, Dad. The 12 starts tonight on Foxtel at 8:30 Eastern. You can get it on demand, Foxtel and Showcase. This looks terrific, this show. Here is a little bit of the trailer.
In a case that has shocked the nation, the trial of Kate Lawson will begin today.
From here on, the most important thing is how you appear to the jury. Your look, your behaviour. They'll be watching you, they'll be forming opinions.
So bittersweet symphony, this life.
These are 12 ordinary people with 12 ordinary lives. And we need to persuade each and every one of them the truth.
The premise will be familiar, the idea that there has been a murder, or has there, and there's a guilt or innocence to be determined. But what makes the 12, I think, particularly interesting is that it focuses on the stories of the people that will make the decision, the 12 jurors in the trial. How does the trial affect their lives? What are their stories? How does that feed into this process by which they'll determine the guilt or innocence of someone who it's very, very much a live question. Louisa Mignoni is a wonderful South Australian actor who plays the role of the lead investigator for the prosecution and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Louisa, good morning to you.
Good morning. Hello. You summed that up really well. I don't have to do anything now.
Oh, no. Oh, yes, you do.
It'd help if you did something.
You did everything for me. The sultry sounds of Sam Neill explaining it's fantastic.
Sam Neill, what a guy. It must be great working with him.
What a guy. Yeah. Oh, a lifelong dream come true. I don't often get nervous around too many big stars, but Sam Neill is one of those ones you get very. Jurassic Park was one of my favourite films growing up as a child. So I think the first day I met him, I went to the bathroom and I came out and I was like, just calm down, don't be crazy. And I started humming the Jurassic Park theme song. And I thought, I just stood in the bathroom for a second and I went through every other song I could to try and not hum that in front of him. It's like, just act cool. And, you're meeting everyone with masks on for the first time in rehearsal. But I could see in his eyes, I was like, I think this guy's cheeky. I think I can have some fun with him. And, 100% right, he is.
Don't you reckon as an actor,
charming and cheeky.
He seems to have this amazing ability to just sort of convey such marvel in his voice. And mentioning Jurassic Park, that scene where they work out that the animals are breeding, I think it's a Triceratops, and he holds up that egg and he goes, "It's a dinosaur egg." And he's got that sort of real glint in his eye, like that captures how seismic something is.
I know. He's absolutely wonderful. I mean, that's why he's had such a long career.
So tell us about
truth and chance, everything. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Absolutely. So tell us about the structure of this show, Louise. It began life as a play, did it not?
The 12.
Yeah. Was it a play or was it designed for television?
It wasn't a play. It was a Belgian TV show, Das 12, which I think you can still get. Which you don't need to understand Belgium to understand that means the 12. Which was a Belgian drama that we've approached, but I think we've done that a fair bit with a few other dramas, and it's based off that, but it's incredibly different. I would say we've given it a very good Australian spin, and just the cast alone. I mean, it's the first time I've walked into a room and seen that many faces on a wall, because all your pictures get put up with the character you're playing, and I walked in and just sort of almost had a little tear thinking, it's the first time I've seen that many faces with different cultural backgrounds on a wall in Australia, sort of ever, which is a big step in the right direction. We're a little behind the rest of the world, but we're getting there. Thankfully, this is the first role I've played without an accent in 5 years, so slowly getting there. But yeah, no, it wasn't a play, it was another show, but yeah, it's been developed by some incredible Australian writers.
What's that like for you when you turn up to do an audition or you get offered a role and you think, and they say, okay, well, it's going to be an accent, or you're going to be of this sort of a background?
This ethnicity. Look, I'm used to it. I think coming up, you sort of, in Australian film and TV, you sort of know that, unfortunately, that's sort of where you're placed for a while. And if I repeated some of the things I've heard back or in rooms, you would be shocked. Yeah. But we're getting better. And I think, to be fair, I'm the one who's pushed the accents on two of the last roles I've done, because but that's only because I've looked at when this person has migrated to Australia, and as a grandchild and child of migrants, I go, you know, if you migrate as an adult, you hold your accent. If you migrate at this age, so I'm the one who's gone with Secret City. She was Iraqi this time, and I said she would have a slight accent. Miss Fisher's Modern Murder Mystery, 1964, she migrated in the 50s as an adult or 40s, she would have an accent. So I'm the one who's gone to the producers and directors and casting and gone, look, this person would have an accent if you want to be truthful for this role. So I have been the one who has suggested that, in fairness, but it gets to a point sometimes where, you know, I went to America for a while and you see a role and it just says, you know, Lisa, so this age range, you know, and it just gives a description of the character and you go, oh, thank God, you know, it doesn't have to have an ethnicity, you know, so you sort of, it is, every now and then it gets frustrating, but I always sort of try to take a positive spin and go, well, they're more interesting roles. I'm gonna like get to dive into different ethnic backgrounds as a child and grandchild of that I kind of understand,
You may not know this, Louisa, but on 5AA Breakfast, we lay claim to proudly being the most parochial radio station in South Australia. We love celebrating South Australian success stories, and I've tried to explain on a theory that we are producing the best actors in the country at the moment. You, of course, were at Flinders University, the wonderful drama centre there.
With Will.
Yeah, that's right, with me. We crossed paths very briefly. They quickly sorted
that
out.
Is you, Will, there.
That's
I was
me.
I was talking. That is you. Yes, we went to school together.
They quickly sorted out the talented from the not so, and you appropriately.
Well, I would say you're pretty talented. Look at where you are and what you're doing. I would say you're doing okay, Will.
No, they are great. I mean, Flinders is fantastic, and they do such a wonderful job preparing people. We've got Sarah Snook at the moment, of course, is doing wonderful things with Succession. I would have thought it would make it's an impediment living in Adelaide compared to a Sydney or a Melbourne or a bigger city where there's a lot of productions and things going on, but that's proving not to be the case. Do you know why?
No. I had to think about that actually, because I was thinking of, you know, I'm friends with the Samuel brothers as well, Xavier Benno. There's some great and great productions and producers, writers, directors, lots of people. But maybe it's just per capita. It seems like there's more, if I'm being really honest. But also, I actually don't know. But I actually think it is that you come from a smaller pond and you have to prove yourself and you do try harder and you work. I mean, that's how Australian actors behave when they're overseas. It's a similar thing. So in Adelaide, South Australian actors sort of do that on the East Coast. I remember my first job being on East West 101 and feeling that, you know, being in the line for food and a couple of other young actors going, where did you went to school and did you go to NIDA? And they were like, I said, I went to Flinders Drama Centre. And they're like, what's that? Where's that? And I went, oh, here we go. And so I was like, I'm going to show you. You know, you get that. You know, and Adelaide always has that on the East Coast. Oh, you're from Adelaide. Oh, of course you escaped. It's like, no, I think Adelaide is one of the best cities in the country, and I think 100%. we have that desire to prove ourselves on a national and international scale, and you do work really hard at it. And I felt like when I moved to Sydney, fresh out of Flinders, I felt the need to work hard and prove myself amongst all the NIDA kids and WAPA kids. And now drama schools. I mean, it's still important to practice, but you could do a 1 minute TikTok video and become famous from that. So,
That's right.
Drama schools, But to be fair, all the cast in the 12, a lot of them have theatrical backgrounds, so it is that training actually does come in really handy. So you look around that room and I was like, oh, most of us have worked in the theatre. Even Sam Neill, we both shared stories about our first job was on the road performing Shakespeare to regional.
Yeah.
Australia and him, New Zealand, and we had some good stories to tell about that. And I was like, I did that too. Yeah, it was good training ground for the rigorous nature of then when you get into television, that's 12+ hour days where you have to be on when you're on.
Absolutely. Hey, Louisa, it's fantastic talking to you. The program is The 12 and it premieres tonight on Foxtel at 8:30 p.m. Lovely to chat to you this morning, and thanks for sharing my hitherto unknown fact about Will's time beating the boards at Flinders. I'm about to get into that with him at some length.
Oh, that's a whole
this
segment
for all it's
itself.
worth.
You could definitely get into that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's all we've got time for, unfortunately, Louisa.
No worries.
Thank you,
Have
Louisa.
a good day.
No, you too. Congratulations on your wonderful career too. I've obviously I've followed it, given that we did cross paths briefly there at Flinders University, and it's just done really wonderful things. She's a tremendously talented young South Australian.
Good on you, Louisa. So now, You did drama at Flinders?
Yeah, but Louisa went and did Drama Centre, which was what the really exceptional people went on to do. I tried to do that, and they went, yeah, nah.
What did you do?
That's all good.
Were you getting around in the tights doing, Hamlet and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there any video of this anywhere that we could source to share with a wider audience, Will?
Now, as a true exponent of the craft, I was committed to the theatre, and of course we didn't tape that. It's a live medium, David, so...
Oh, listen to him.
Thankfully, no. This is what I'm saying to you.
Did you write your own works? Did you do original pieces? Anything about...
No. I think you're missing the part where
teen angst or anything like that?
I'm trying to accurately demonstrate the complete and utter lack of talent I had, David. I didn't...
So you did economics and that?
No, that came later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once I realised that wasn't for me, an identity crisis, and I had to try and find something else that I could do. And here we are. Let's check traffic.
Thanks, Will. At Elizabeth North, traffic lights playing up on Main North Road near Wommer Road. Netley, Burstwater Main, Marion Road near Watson Avenue. Plimpton, Burstwater Main, Cross Road near Anzac Highway, down to 40 heading outbound. And Darlington changed traffic conditions due to New Ashford going down last night. That's South Road near Marion Road. Busy at the moment, Anzac Highway heading into the city near Marion Road with the Camera Adams Road at Craigmore. Mercedes Days is ending soon, so don't miss complimentary delivery on select new and demonstrator models. Visit Mercedes-Benz in-store or online. T's and C's apply. Offer ends June 30. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Construction of 88 O'Connell has commenced. This is truly one of the most impressive developments in Adelaide for a very long time. 88 O'Connell will encapsulate connected living, community and style with boutiques, retail and culinary experiences on your doorstep. 2 and 3 bedroom apartments are still available from $1.1 million. Visit the new display suite at 53 O'Connell Street, North Adelaide. Proudly developed by Commercial and General, creating South Australian communities for over 25 years.
Great news for people on the move. Budget Car and Truck Rental have a new location, just north of the city at 354 North East Road, Clemzig. Open 7 days a week. So, if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip, or going on a big trip, you can do it all with Budget Car and Truck Rental. 7 metro locations, including their new site at Clemzig. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
We lost Dad to prostate cancer.
Breast cancer nearly took Mum away.
My little brother is living with leukemia.
My pa caught his bowel cancer early.
Make your donation as personal as your story. You can target the cancer that's hurt you most with Cancer Council SA. Learn more or donate at cancersa.org.au.
Connect Hearing is the largest Australian provider of Lyric, the completely invisible hearing solution with fit and forget convenience that stays in your ear 24/7. Book your free 30-day Lyric trial at connecthearing.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Hey, it's Callum here. It's not by chance that Edwardstown Mazda is located bang on South Road. They wanted to make it easy to get your car serviced. Any make or model. Make a pit stop at Edwardstown Mazda. edwardstownmazda.com.au.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. Well, it's tax time. The absolute best time to get in touch with your Leader Computers reseller, especially if you run a business. Order and install your new Leader PC before June 30 to get a significant tax deduction, plus amazing pricing from Leader. And with Leader Computers, you're dealing with a true SA company with outstanding local customer support. Live life local. Live life Leader this tax time. Visit leadersystems.com.au to find your closest Leader reseller.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 to 9 behind closed doors is coming up in just a moment, but we need your help with something. Every Tuesday just before 7 o'clock we do Hero of the Week, where we play this song to introduce it. Generally David makes that noise too when we do, and said this morning we did something that's a little bit less abrasive, and our fantastic listeners were coming instantly to the party with some suggestions for what we might do. You had your own suggestion, though, didn't you, David? You suggested this.
Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone
it's a bit slow for a segment intro.
Oh, come on, it's 6:50 a.m.
Oh, put me to sleep before 7 o'clock.
Laura
Right.
Brannigan?
Let's.
No, thank you.
Now, Kaz in Brompton suggested this.
Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I'd like to be.
That is
From Beach's saddest song ever, saddest movie ever.
That's a bit more to it. Rob has suggested this.
I like it, Rob. If we do that, though, we need, like, the green light behind us, and we both need to be standing here in sort of pantsuits.
Well, as I've just revealed, it wouldn't be the first time. Now, this was Sam,
and then
our
we need
producer,
to do the rest of the show
this.
like David Bowie.
Thank you, Sam. And this too was suggested.
I can be your hero, baby.
Bit of Enrique. Enrique Iglesias. Oh, okay. Julio's son. Oh, yeah. I think it's his son, isn't it? Okay, so that's another hero version. This was also suggested.
Where everybody's searching for a hero.
That was David a little bit earlier, giving us a sense of what he wanted the segment to be.
See, I'm prepared to concede that Whitney's version is much better.
Oh,
by
that's
which
big,
I mean
big of you.
Houston as opposed to Mike. Whitney Houston. I think she's one of the greatest singers of all time, isn't she? She's in the top 10.
One of the greatest voices of all time, no doubt about it. So let us know what you want to be the hero of the week theme song. We've got Whitney Houston, Colin Hewitt, David Bowie, Foo Fighters, Enrique Iglesias, or Penberthy. 8223 or text us on the Automasters text line 044808 1395. I'm going to make a snap decision on this in the next 4 minutes. In the meantime, it's time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed,
This is the Sunday Roast, talking Adelaide sports.
Yes, good morning everybody and welcome along to the Sunday Roast. KG with you, and what a weekend of sport it was. Port Adelaide with a fantastic win over the Sydney Swans, one of their best performances, and the Crows, of course, playing this afternoon, and our number is 8223 0000 as I welcome my very good friend Sam Tugwell. Tuggers, how are you, Tuggers? How you going, Tuggers? How are you, Tuggers?
KG, I was just admiring how good you are at this job still. You are bloody good at this.
No, I'm not, Tuggers. I'm just an 83-year-old who sounds like a 45-year-old, Tuggers, that's all. Now, how did you see Port Adelaide's performance yesterday, Tuggers?
Well, that's finally what we've been expecting all year, isn't it?
Exactly right, Tuggers. There'll be a few teams in the AFL saying, well, we don't want them in the 8, that's for sure. They were sensational.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're a Port supporter, give us a call and tell us what your thoughts. So the Crows play today, KG. What are your thoughts?
Well, Tuggers, they have to make a statement today. They've got to get on the front foot. They've got to show themselves and the footy club and the supporters that they are on the right tram so far as rebuilding is concerned.
Yep.
They've got to step up today, Tuggers, as Port Adelaide did yesterday.
Yep.
And do exactly the same thing.
Well, the Crows certainly have what it takes to beat the Suns.
Yes, they do. They've got to stop the midfield. Miller's going to be tough.
Yes.
They've got to stop Matty Rao too, and if they do that, they stop those guys, then you stop the supply to the big guys up forward.
That's right.
They have to show discipline,
yes,
resolve,
yep,
a dedication to the job,
yep,
and a belief, Tuggers, that they can get the ball going in the right direction and deliver it with accuracy.
Spot on, KG, and will they do all that?
No, they won't.
It's coming up to 3 minutes to 9. Some results coming in from the Snap poll on the Hero of the Week theme song that is now a very live question on 5AA Breakfast. Sam's in the studio with some of the results.
Yep.
Morning.
So Helen's voted for Whitney.
Yep.
We've got a David Bowie and favourite, another David Bowie, another Whitney, and then David's version of Whitney.
So I'm betting about 20%.
So it's about two for Whitney, 2 for Bowie, and 1 for David.
keep the votes piling in,
So
folks.
we're down to a top three. So maybe it's like the vote for the French president, where we're getting rid of some of the the peripheral options, and we're now down to the top three.
Everybody's searching for a hero.
Yes.
People need someone to make us.
I don't know if we get the vote.
Everybody's
searching for a hero.
Okay, that's the top three. Maybe we'll just...
I wanted to vote for Sam's. I thought the Foo Fighters was an inspired
Well,
choice.
no, it just dropped out. The listeners did not agree. So maybe we'll make a determination on that. We've
I
got a
know
top
this is a
three.
democracy, but one with the added qualification of we get to make a completely arbitrary, unexplained decision about which song we use. I reckon we should throw the Foo Fighters back
We've
in.
been given a 3-2-1 Brownlow style. 1 vote, Whitney. 2 votes, Fooey's. 3 votes, D. Penberthy.
Okay, well...
Another one, D.
No,
Penberthy.
you need more of a Gil McLaughlin style pause there, mate.
Well, to play us out...
Where everybody's searching for a hero.
Okay, let's get a headline.
Dim between the flags. Greens leader labelled a goose over flag stunt.
Yeah, Goose is putting it kindly.
That's not all he was labelled. We couldn't read half of our messages out this morning.
All right, Leon Byner's coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential